Welcome back to Pocono, where a forecast of 72 and sunny has turned into a high overcast and a big rain system in the area, which may pass to the south of us and may come here. Caution at lap 1 for Morgan Shepherd, smoking down in turn number 1. This week, after the debacle at Dover, NASCAR announced new procedures for the caution flags that go into effect in Nextel Cup racing today. First, the method of freezing the field has changed. No longer will NASCAR rely on videotape or sight lines from the tower to determine the position of cars. They have scoring loops embedded in various places around the track. I believe 14 of them here, as many as 18 at Talladega. And the last one of those lines passed by each driver records electronically, and that will determine the running position, so that if the drivers pass a scoring line and a position changes, but the caution comes out before they get to the next line, that will not be counted. In other words, they will not try to freeze the field at the moment of the caution. It will all be done electronically based on the last time they passed one of these scoring loops in the track. Mike Helton had a press conference to explain that and other changes we'll talk about today.
As many or most all of you know, earlier this year we began using a multi-loop system in a development phase beginning in Daytona. So when the caution comes out, the multi-loop system will determine where you belong, and that's what we will use to position you. Your position on the racetrack has already been determined, and NASCAR will convey to you what that position was if you're confused over it. There's still an enormous amount of judgment calls that we're going to make during the race. Whether or not a guy's rolling off a pit road when the caution comes out and all those types of things are still part of this sport that NASCAR is going to make, and we're going to focus on those judgment calls, make those calls quickly, and go on with the racing. We will do it that way, except at the end of the race, if there's a caution and we finish under caution. Whatever that caution was, we will use the loop system or any video that we can get our hands on to determine the finishing order of the race.
Mike, this is Larry. The thing about it is, life begins and ends right here at the start-finish line. It has all my career. I lived and died by what happened right here in front of us, all these people in the stands. To think about having multi-start-finish lines around the racetrack is confusing to me, and I think some probably fans as well. So but that's what you've got to consider, multi-finish lines around the racetrack.
But the thing I'm impressed with, I think NASCAR acknowledges that we did have a problem. We were running way too many caution laps. We couldn't figure out who was running where. So you got to tip your hat to them, because what we have to remember, the reason we're doing this, the reason it started the middle of last year, toward the tail end of last year, is for safety, to keep these guys from racing back to the flag stand like at Loudon when Dale Jarrett was sitting crossways in the front straightaway.
I think we all agree that this is a step in the right direction, taking the human element out of determining position. Chris?
Thank you. And this is a Visa race break from the Hollywood Hotel. We're 3 laps in under a caution flag, and again an early start because of threatening weather in the area with Jeff Hammond. You know, the drivers, we were in the drivers meeting. They were somewhat confused by this. And Mike Helton said, hey, I apologize for last week. It's unacceptable. We're trying to make the proper concessions and correct things. Have they made a step in the right direction?
I think so right now. You don't know until after the day. They tried it earlier this week when they ran the Craftsman trucks down in Texas. They also raced it last night in Nashville. So they got a little bit under their belts right now as far as what might happen. So good thing about it, it's not a brand new out-of-the-box thing for the people working it today, but it will be trying because the competition at the Nextel level is so close.
And he did say there will be judgment calls in the future. That's just the way it is. Let's take a quick pause for the McDonald's drive-through championship fueled by Powerade and Tony Stewart's crew on top of it. And that's Jay Berry running away with the check. Somebody should tell him he can't catch that. They were last week's winners. The overall team leaders, led by Chad Myers, my cousin, part of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. crew, and Elliott Sadler running second. And let's go back upstairs. Let's get this thing going again, guys.
All right, Morgan Shepherd's car has been pushed to the garage area. There's a look at Tony, who right now runs in the 7th position. So Shepherd to the garage with a problem that they can't fix after an engine change this morning. Look at some of our onboards. Rusty, Dale Jr., Michael Waltrip.
You see right here, this is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pits right here. One thing that's to his advantage with Morgan Shepherd dropping out, this was Morgan Shepherd's pit, he now has this open place to drive out of pit road. And as anticipated, we talked in the beginning, a 2.5-mile racetrack, every lap you have on fuel can be to your advantage. About the final fourth of the field came to pit road and topped off the fuel.
Now, before the conspiracy theorists start out, you pick your pits in the order you qualify. So when Dale Jr.'s team picked that pit, they had no idea who would be pitted in front of them.
Yeah, and these pit boxes here are so big that getting blocked in here is almost impossible.
And the straightaway, Darrell, is so wide. They had a B-52 do the flyover, and I think its wingspan was about as wide as this straightaway.
Yeah, and the neat thing about this track, I always love, you can come off turn 3 down here at racing speed and dive on the pit road and get down to pit road speed by the time you get to the commit line.
Green flag, green flag.
Hey, we're going racing again.
Single file restart. Ryan Newman in that 12 car, he's going to make it 3 wide down this front straightaway. He got a good start. He's going to pass 3 cars before he gets to turn 1 in that 12.
Yeah, I don't think Tony Stewart got off to a real good start, and that bottlenecked things up a little bit. Jeremy got alongside, and Ryan was able to get a draft off of both of them. You get a ton of draft here down these long straightaways at over 200 mile an hour.
Well, that front straightaway is the length of 3 quarter-mile drag strips.
3,700 feet on the front, 3,000 on the back. 200 mile an hour down both of them.
But, Darrell, cars get so strung out here after a restart. If you can get a little bit of an advantage when the green flag comes out, it can be to your advantage because these cars get away from you after the start of a race.
Jimmie Johnson to second. Entering turn 3.
That's it. Kasey Kahne had to pass his car here in practice both times. Set on pole with a new track record and sliding back a little.
See Jeff Gordon in that DuPont car, the 24 car. He's trying to work his way up there to the 3rd position, walking through the garage. Definitely, everyone told me this is a car to watch. He was very good on long runs yesterday. He goes by his teammate Brian Vickers in the 25.
Dick Berggren.
Kane's car is just a little bit tight, Mike. He has called in and said that it's tight in 2 out of the 3 corners. Long race yet to go. They got plenty of time to adjust this automobile and bring it back to the speed that we saw here in practice and qualifying.
Practice yesterday, it was about 10 or 12 degrees warmer, and it was in full sun. It was very unlike today.
Well, I just got to reiterate that they didn't get back here from Nashville last night until about 5, 6 o'clock this morning. Probably take a little time for him to wake up.
But, Mike, you're right. A lot of crew chiefs were anticipating this racetrack was going to be a little tighter, have a little more grip than it did, because yesterday when these guys were practicing, it was in the mid-80s. We see right now it's only in the mid-60s.
Terry Labonte peeks out from behind Casey Mears. And as they go 3 wide down this straightaway that could easily accommodate cars running 6 wide.
Until they get the right there. Right. And then they got to really get single file. The track's a lot more user-friendly up high than it used to be, as I was alluding to a little bit earlier. We used to hook the bottom there. You had to. You got out of the groove. You went up into the wall. But now they've got that outside groove working good down in turn 1.
Steve?
Mike, Terry Labonte, the 2-time champ, had top 10 runs in both events here last year, but crew chief Jim Long not with the team. He's having some medical problems and stayed behind in Charlotte, North Carolina to have some doctors look at him. So the crew chief duties being shared by Mike Bumgarner and one of the team engineers.
Because we talked about momentum. Terry had a good run at Dover last week, finished 7th.
Miles around Pocono International Raceway. One car had trouble down in turn 1, Kevin LePage, but he did manage to pick up. Here's LePage, that's the second white car right there, bottom of your screen. Hang on to the pack there. The other car behind him is Kirk Shelmerdine, who picked up a local one-race sponsorship from Lions and Sun Transportation here in Pennsylvania.
Riding here with Rusty Wallace in the 2 car.
I love to watch Rusty. Watch his hands. I mean, he just wants to reach over to shift. He said, I'm not going to shift this time. But look at his fingers now. Okay, really, he's focusing. He's concentrating, and he's up on the wheel.
But DW, notice right now he's up in 3rd gear. The shifter's forward, but now he's on this long straightaway. Just past the start-finish line, he'll reach up there and grab high gear.
You don't have to lift. Stay wide open. Just jerk it back into high gear. But here you'll use the clutch. You'll right in the middle of this turn. Reach over, slam it up into third, and away you go.
And just to explain to why we're at an oval track and these guys are shifting is this, we have a battle right here with Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car. This is a battle for ninth with Greg Biffle in the 16. We talked about these straightaways being different lengths. Shifting lets you maximize the RPMs on every straightaway.
Kevin LePage's problems did appear terminal. He's taken the negotiationsolution.com Chevy to the garage.
Now, you heard Jeremy then. That was across the short chute, and he's actually shifting gears across that short chute, which is optional for a lot of these guys. Some are doing it, some aren't. Everybody on the straightaway, some on the short chute there between turn 2 and 3.
Matt?
Mike, that Hendrick horsepower looking stout early on. Jimmie Johnson under the caution told his crew chief Chad Knaus, we have a great race car today. His spotter commenting about how well he looked as he works over the 01 of Joe Nemechek trying to take the lead, how well that car looked in the tunnel turn, and Jeff Gordon trying to get in that picture as well. So his car just a little too tight early on.
Here he goes for the lead right here. Got a great run off the tunnel, just like he said. Like Matt said, he's great across the tunnel.
Great job, buddy.
And look in your mirror, my friend, because here comes your teammate.
The first 4 cars are Hendrick powered. Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Joe Nemechek, Brian Vickers. 11 laps complete in the Pocono 500. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Hey, race fans, play the Race the Pros online video game, now only on foxsports.com, keyword game. 14 laps complete in the Pocono 500. Jimmie Johnson, his Hendrick teammate Jeff Gordon, Joe Nemechek, Brian Vickers. I'm sorry, but this is kind of neat. Kirk Shelmerdine right now is running in 40th place. He's kind of tail end Charlie on this field, but he's a native of Philadelphia, and he's got a lot of fans here.
Yes, he does. You know,
get a glimpse of them later on here.
You're talking about Hendrick cars being in the first 4 positions. Rick Hendrick has 8 wins here as a car owner, the most of anybody. I won 2 races here with Hendrick power in 91 and 92, so I've always had great motors for this racetrack.
Jeremy going to make the move inside of Ryan Newman. That's 6th place.
Another thing I noticed, Larry, look at those lap speeds. That's about a half to 3/4 second quicker than what we were practicing here yesterday morning. That throws a real curve. That throws a monkey wrench into your gear selection, I can tell you that.
Well, and I think the reason that it's slower, running quicker, is because the track temperature is cooler.
All right, here comes Kirk Shelmerdine. Lions trucking right at the front straightaway. There they all are, and waving for Kirk right next to the start-finish line. Got a lot of fans here, and every time he goes by, young kid there just held a big 72 sign. So every driver has a fan base out there. Good to see. One of those is Greg Biffle, another of these sleepless night contingent that went down and ran Nashville.
Those two right there went together. They came home together. Kasey Kahne and Greg Biffle. I believe they were together last week.
Of course, Kasey Kahne in the 9-car pole sitter. Greg Biffle just goes by him for the 9th position, so Kasey is now stood back to 10th. But, DW, you know, it's one thing to run around this place in qualifying trim fast. I mean, that's quite a challenge itself. But to be out there racing these guys, as these tires give up, that becomes another challenge.
Yeah, well, what happens is you just don't get these conditions. You know, you don't get out there with 43 other guys. You get out there with a couple of 3 cars, you think you're pretty good, until you get a bunch of cars all around you.
3rd place. Brian Vickers, the outside pole sitter, coming back after Joe Nemechek.
Well, contrary to a guy running his first race here he's moving toward the front as he passes Joe for 3rd place.
Dick, Joe has been up to the front and now settles back in 4th place.
Yeah, how quickly things can change. On lap 1, after he completed lap 1, Nemechek got on the radio and said the car was feeling really good. By lap 10, he said the car is really free. By lap 13, he said, I can't get on the gas. Lap 16, he said, throttle off. I can't do anything with it.
This place is always a challenge.
Oh, yeah. You know, of course, you know, you say, well, that's a lot of information, but that's what you got to give the crew chief. You got to tell him what the car's doing, all those points, because he could make a tire pressure adjustment or a little wedge adjustment and fix a couple of those. That'd be good.
Mark Martin and Kasey Kahne.
Man, those guys
on the move.
Flirt with that wall across the tunnel there.
And that'll move Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car up into the top 10. Kasey Kahne I think that car, you heard him describing it being tight, not turning, and what normally happens here is you burn fuel off, it just gets tighter. It's not going to get looser.
I'm really surprised because that car was so solid in both practices, was running for the pole. Surprised that he's having trouble.
Time for our singular wireless virtual crew chief question. Vote now from your singular wireless phone. Send text message Fox to phone number 191 or visit foxsports.com to vote online.
Answer will be A, B, and C. You know, we were just watching Dale Jarrett in that UPS car. The 88 car had a good qualifying run, qualified in 10th. That group built a brand new race car. We're riding here with him as we head off into turn 3. This group came up here and tested, had a decent run in Dover. So this is maybe where this race team can make their turnaround. They're back in 16th in points, 162 points out of the top 10.
You see that he's almost 11 seconds behind Jimmie Johnson as Johnson goes through turn 1. That's the graphic at the bottom center of your screen. And Matt Kenseth is on pit road way too early. Only 19 laps into this race. That's about half a fuel run. He's in.
Down on the track for make it turn in 3/4.
But he was going backwards. I've been watching him, been watching the scoring monitor. And the thing about this place, you know, I think the reason he wanted to get the pit road now, he can make this pit stop and still stay on the lead lap. If he continued to go backwards, he possibly would have got lapped making his pit stop.
Larry Mackey was backsliding. He came on the radio and said, whatever we did to this race car after the final practice session, we have made it really bad. It won't turn. Worse yet, it is loose on exit.
Well, the other problem, he will go a lap down. Looks like he's going to come out in about 3rd or 4th position on the racetrack as he gets up to speed in turn 1.
It's a free pass if things go right.
That's right. But the defending series champion is 1 lap down, just 20 laps into the Pocono 500. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Nice to have you with us. Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Subway. After 23 of the 200 laps, Jimmie Johnson, who finished 32nd last week in Dover, trying to bounce back and chase down points leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. The top 4 spots, all Chevys: Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Brian Vickers, Tony Stewart. As you get a look at the leader, highest running 4, Dale Jarrett at 5th, and Jeff Hammond. Let's take a look, and as we see those who have made the biggest moves, Jeff Burton, proud to have Duke Children's Hospital and Health Center as a sponsor that he'll be running. Excited about the renewed opportunity in the special paint scheme.
Yeah, that's him right there in the 99, right behind Scott Wimmer, trying to pick up another position. And starting back 39th, he's already made his way up to 25th and challenging for 24th. But this team seems like they're really taking advantage of that momentum of Dover last week when they finished 4th, had a real strong run. So Jeff's pretty optimistic about today. And Chris, they're also running that new Ford Silverhead on this particular car.
Right, referred to as the D3. In fact, the only one of the group that are not running, right, is Mark Martin and Kurt Busch.
Yes, that's correct. Right now, the guys that work with the Roush Yates Engine Company, Elliott Sadler, as well as his teammate Dale Jarrett, and the rest of the Roush camp are all running the new Silverhead.
We'll keep an eye on that throughout the rest of the race. Joe Nemechek in trouble in the pits moments ago. Let's check in with Dick Berger as the latest on that.
Well, Joe Nemechek's car got looser and looser. He thought perhaps he had a flat tire, came in, changed all 4. Right now, the mechanics are behind the wall, checking tire pressure to see if, in fact, that was the case. To Matt Yoakum.
Jeff, one other update on the 17. Besides being both tight and loose, he felt like something was amiss on one of the rear tires, possibly a loose wheel. When they did pit change the tires, you could tell by how the holes were in the wheel. They were a little bit oblong, so you can tell that they did have loose lugs on that wheel. Now he says the good news, the car isn't tight, Chris. It's just a little loose.
All right, thanks. And Jeff, how about that, considering track conditions here?
Well, it's kind of strange because you would have thought the cooler conditions would make these cars a little bit tighter. But instead, a lot of guys complain about the track itself not having the grip off the corner. Now, several teams this week worked on that when the sun was out, but it's a lot cooler today. Like we talked earlier, track conditions yesterday were in the 80s. Today, basically 60 degrees.
Let's rejoin Larry, Darrell, and Mike.
Jimmie Johnson has just lapped Jeffrey Bodine, and quite a group here. I mean, these fellows have just been battling and battling side by side.
Now, Larry, if the 17 had a loose wheel, he started the race with a loose wheel.
Yeah, and you know, we can understand a loose lug nut after a pit stop, but these guys have all morning long used a torque wrench and actually check the torque on a lug nut. I don't know if I totally understand that happening, especially with the 17 car.
Exactly.
That group you just saw, Elliott Sadler's made his way past 4 or 5 cars, and incredibly, he did it in one move. Everything stacked up going into the tunnel turn, and Sadler was able to take advantage, and it was grandma, put your teeth in your pocketbook for this one kind of dive bomb move, but it paid off.
And Elliott Sadler, you know, he qualified up in the 12th position. He kind of went backwards when the race started, but now he's starting to work his way up to the front. Another guy working his way to the front also, Jamie McMurray in that number 42 car. Qualified back in 14th. Now he's working, just worked his way back into the top 10.
He had a good car here last year, Jamie, in the 42.
Carol, we go to a lot of tracks and talk about the best place to pass, where you don't want to pass. There doesn't seem to be a bad place to pass here.
Well, you got a lot of room to work. The thing that probably the most treacherous thing you could do is get that nose along the side of a guy and him not know you're there, and that's true at any racetrack, but more so here because you've got to get to the bottom in most cases. Pick over the tunnel in turn 3. Terry Labonte's up to 9th, and he's booking along here pretty good, and he's had some great runs here.
That car started 19th.
Qualified 19th, but, you know, we've already talked about the other 3 Hendrick cars right now running 1, 2, 3. He's trying very hard to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, but Terry always runs well here.
And you're going to find that the guys that have raced a lot here, they save a little something. They know this is a 500-mile race, and they're not going to wear the brakes out. They're not going to blow the engine up until it's time. They save a little something for time. And if you notice off turn 1 there, they put the safer barriers up down in turns 1 at this joint, and I'm glad to see that. I understand they're going to continue to do that around the rest of the racetrack after this race.
You know, that car right behind Terry, the 40 car, Sterling Marlin, he's made a nice move, too. He started back in 20th. He's up to the 10th position, a lot like Terry Labonte. Always races well here.
Steve, on our point leader?
Yeah, Mike Joy, Dale Earnhardt Jr. just told his crew he thinks he may have a flat tire. He had been reporting just moments ago that his car was very loose off and tight in the middle. Basically, his car has no grip at all. Now he thinks he may have that flat tire.
You see him continuing to lose time down the bottom of our graphic to the race leader.
Get no grip in the back up on. It's real loose up on. About to spin out. Tight, get in.
And, you know, I'm not for sure. We're within 10 laps of making that green flag stop. The ground he's losing, Darrell, I believe I'd come on the pit road and make that green flag pit stop. He is all the way back to the 26th position right now, and he's 31 seconds behind our leader, Jimmie Johnson.
Loose off, and then tight in.
That's not a good feeling. Tight end's okay because you're turning left. But I continue to say this, and always remember, fix the first thing the driver says. Fix the tight end, that'll help the loose off.
Jimmie Johnson, your leader. Jeff Gordon, Brian Vickers, 300 cars. Dale Jarrett has moved up to 4th, passing Jeremy Mayfield. 30 laps complete in the Pocono 500. Pit road's a busy place. Green flag stops. Greg Biffle and Jeff Burton have come and gone. Here's Steve.
Jeremy Mayfield on pit road. He's describing his car as tight on the throttle. They make some chassis adjustment. They have also made an air pressure adjustment. Martin is off pit road. Dick Burkert.
Kasey Kahne is also in. They're going to try to loosen the car up. He has had problems with it being tight. Kahne started on the pole, looking for his first career win today.
Ryan Newman is also pitted. So is Kurt Busch, Elliott Sadler, and Sterling Marlin. Here comes Brian Vickers, the outside pole sitter. Matt?
A great run going by Brian Vickers. Hits pit road in the 3rd position. Coming around to the left side of the race car. Solid stop so far. No adjustments for Vickers. The car a tick on the tight side in the center of the corner, but doesn't want to adjust it. Dick?
Dale Jarrett having a fine run for himself. Worked his way from 10th all the way up to 4th. Said the car is good. A little bit tight on entry, and that's it. Jarrett almost stalled the car, but he's going now.
Stewart, McMurray, Mears, Robbie Gordon, also on pit road. Kenny Schrader, Kevin Harvick, Bobby Labonte, Scott Wimmer, and here's the leader. Jimmie Johnson's in. Matt.
The 48 slides to a stop. Possibly his teammate Jeff Gordon is reporting he might be out of gas. Jimmie says his car is tight. They're going to make an air pressure and track bar adjustment as a 24 Gordon makes his way to his pit stall. Jeff also was looking for a track bar and air pressure adjustment. He said he needs grip all the way around. As you can see, the crew goes to work on the left side of the race car.
Squirting that ether into the air box from
Trying to
behind
get
the
that
pit
car to
wall.
fire, and he's down and away.
Terry Labonte's been in as well.
Which Matt said that he said he was out of fuel, so right there they spray the ether down in there to get the engine refired.
Dave Blaney, Rusty Wallace on pit road. So is Michael Waltrip. Green flag stops at lap 35. Brendan Gaughan is in.
These are all scheduled stops. This is about how far you can go on fuel here.
Larry, the Fords, especially the Roush Fords, came in early, pretty much in a group. Are you surprised the Fords might not be getting the gas mileage some of the Chevys and Dodges are?
Now, just remember, the Fords, a lot of them, 5 or 6 of the 8, have that new engine package. You turn more RPMs, that's lower gears, that uses more fuel.
That was one of the choices in our singular question, Darrell. Will fuel mileage get you to victory lane today?
It has almost every time I've been here. So, yes, it will. There's no doubt about it. One way or another.
Carl Long enters the pit lane as we ride with Dale Jr.
Now, surprisingly, he was one of the cars that was really going backwards, having a lot of problems. He's one of the last of the lead lap cars to come to pit road.
You got him, Tony.
55 miles an hour.
In away.
Headed for Steve.
5, look left, right up here. Come on.
Hey, Mike, they decided to wait one more lap so they'd have a clear shot off and on pit road. They'll make a wedge adjustment on that number 8. Remember, Junior said he thought he had a flat tire and that his car was extremely loose. Left side tires going on. All the adjustments have been made, and Junior is away. Clear shot out on pit road.
Jeff Green is in, and so is the hometown favorite, Jimmy Spencer. Jeff Bodine comes to pit road, and the leader of the Pocono 500, left of your screen, P.J. Jones, who made his dad Parnelli pretty proud 2 weeks ago when he started his first Indy 500.
And he's not really getting that much better mileage as we see him come to pit road. He'll lead a lap. He was one of those cars I talked about earlier that topped off on lap 3 when we had that first caution.
Arnold Development Dodge, in which he replaced Derek Cope for the next couple of races.
Looks like Kurt Stemmerdine, he may be out of fuel.
Yeah, I'm not showing that he has been to pit road for fuel yet. He did not top off even on that first caution. Right now, it looks like everyone has hit it of our lead lap cars, except for Ricky Rudd, the 21 car that's running second right now. He should be coming to pit road very shortly.
Shelmerdine makes it to the access road, so he is out of harm's way.
Stewart was just going to walk away with this race based on his performance here last year when he won the June event. He's got the same car he won with, but it simply has not performed as well as it did last year. The simple problem, the car isn't as fast as they'd like. And as a result, Greg Zipadelli this morning threw everything he had at this car. 4 different shock absorbers, 4 different springs. They changed the nose weight. They changed the wedge on the car. They changed the front end geometry. So far, so good. Crew Chief Scott Deal said they still have some more adjustment to go. They've still got some more speed that they can dial into this thing.
And Larry, you know what happens, just like I do. The driver and the crew chief, they go on a reconnaissance mission. They go through the garage, they take a poll. What front springs you got? What rear springs you got? What shocks you got? And then they come in Sunday morning and they throw a whole new package at it.
But we heard Dick talk about, you know, he won this race a year ago. We've heard this all year long from competitors. What won races and worked last year with the new aero package and the new tire package just won't work this year. And to throw into what all the list of Dick had, they changed the transmission in that car too.
Wow. That's the other thing. What transmission, what overdrive do you have? 96 won here last year, a 96 overdrive, .96. This year, a .92 is what everybody's running.
All right, Jimmie Johnson has put a lap on Kenny Schrader. Dave Blaney making a pit stop that would be unscheduled. Right now, here's Jeff Gordon coming into frame in 3rd place behind Johnson and Vickers, his teammates.
And you know what's interesting about that? We come back here in 6 weeks, and it'll be different again.
That's true. Matt?
Owner Rick Hendrick has to be pleased. His 4 cars in the top 8. Jeff Gordon, though, running in 3rd, not happy with his race car.
Trouble over in the tunnel turn.
Turn 2, exit of turn 2. Ward Burton goes for a big ride. That will put us under caution at lap 50.
Looks like he might have kept it out of the wall. I just saw, I mean, all I saw was smoke. Let's see what happened. Yeah, let's see what happened here. I can't imagine he saved it. kept it out of the wall. Had a feeling. Oh, yeah, he just got loose. I mean, he saw Dale Jr. behind him. He tried to pick the throttle up, stay ahead of him. Got on it too quick, too hard, and spun around.
Darrell, at these speeds, can that car duck into the inside, take all the air off the back of yours?
Yeah, it can. I mean, we've seen that a lot this year, which makes me wonder if that smaller rear blade is not loosening these cars up a little bit more than what the drivers are used to.
But if you're a little bit loose, that car definitely adds to it, Steve Byrne.
Larry Mack, we heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. say on the radio, he said, I never got into the zero car. I never touched him.
No, he wasn't even close, Steve.
No, he did not touch him, but we think he may have added to him already being a little loose. Let's talk about who likes this caution. We just talked about him, Matt Kenseth, who was only 5 laps away from having to make that green flag stop. And I think Kenny Schrader will get the free pass. Who don't like it is Dave Blaney, who was sitting on pit road when the caution came out.
And Blaney will end up 2 laps down as a result. Now, 2 new procedures instituted. First off, the field will be aligned based on the last scoring loop they passed. There are 14 of them here at Pocono across the track that the electronic scoring system registers. Also, first time the leader comes by the pits, they mark it. Next time he comes by, pit road will open. If pit road is clear, they won't wait for the pace car to pass twice. And when the leaders make their pit stops, the free pass car, in this case Schrader, will be waved around instead of adding an extra lap of caution late into the sequence to do that.
Well, cautions have been lasting about an average this year of 10 laps, believe it or not. So let's see if we've improved upon that.
But it'll definitely help at a 2.5-mile racetrack. It's not like being at a half-mile or 1-mile track.
Dave Blaney was rolling on pit road, and that's the determination as to where you're placed in line. So he got out ahead of the leader. So he will be 1, not 2 laps down.
Very similar to the situation that happened back at Rockingham when Kasey Kahne, I think, and Matt Kenseth was on pit road. Jamie McMurray was the leader.
Matt?
Chad Knaus waiting for his driver, Jimmie Johnson, to bring the Lowe's Chevrolet. They have the very first pit stop off turn 3. Jimmie says the car is not bad at all. A little loose in the center of turn 1, a little tight in the center of the tunnel turn. Not too bad at all. Off turn 3, they're going to make a track bar adjustment. Kenny Too Low brakes made an air pressure adjustment in that right front for Jimmie Johnson, trying to score his first Pocono win. Meanwhile, a great run going by his teammates, the 24 of Jeff Gordon and the 25 of Brian Vickers. Gordon, his car is bad loose, Dick.
Well, Dale Jarrett's car is bad fast, and he is having the best run of his entire year here this afternoon at Pocono. Crew so far flawless, a nice stop.
Steve.
Chassis adjustments on the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield and 4 tires. Jeremy said that his race car was pretty good on that run. Crew chief Kenny Francis saying straight out.
Here comes Sterling.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sterling maybe only took 2 tires. They were last on pit road back about lap 32, so they have 18 laps on these tires.
I think you're right. And Larry, one thing to remember about Sterling, he has had 4 top 10 finishes here the last 4 races, so he really runs well here.
How many tires did Sterling get?
2 tires, Mike.
Good call. Track position.
Well, and of course, a car loves to be out front in clean air here. I don't care what kind of make you've got. If you're out there in clean air without having to fight traffic, a car likes that here.
And anybody who questioned Chad Knaus's choice of pit position, here's the answer. Jimmie Johnson comes out second after being the first car to complete the service.
Oh, we quit questioning him.
You're right. I didn't mean us.
But he won the battle of all the cars that changed 4 tires.
Just ahead of his teammate Brian Vickers. 51 laps complete in the Subway 500.
Last Sunday at Dover, Ford driver Mark Martin won big. His 34th victory overall, his 4th at Dover. His 12-year-old son Matt, a Ford contract racer, won the night before in Florida, driving his truck number 66. The kid has lots of victory lane experience.
Thank Gatorade, my sponsor, and Ford, and everybody who works on my car. The fans are awesome. Fans make racing. Without fans, racing wouldn't get very close.
Built Ford tough.
And we welcome you back. back here at Pocono on Fox. If he's half the racer his daddy is and has been, then he'll certainly turn out okay. Mark Martin, the winner last week, currently running 12th as we are under our second caution with Jeff Hammond. Chris Myers here in the Hollywood Hotel. By the way, the youngest driver in this race. Mark Martin's son is 12 years old, so it won't be too long. But Brian Vickers, 20 years old, running this race and in the top 5 most of the day. He's running 4th right now. Let's go back just a moment as we get a look at Kasey Kahne.
You know what's going on there is he decided to stay out, lead a lap. It was so far down, they decided to come in now after leading a lap, get their bonus points, make a little adjustment to the car. You notice they're also adding tape to the front of the car. Undoubtedly, he's not running quite warm enough, or they're also trying to make some downforce in the front to make the car a little more aerodynamic as far as going down. These long straightaways are so important. Remember, he's only 71 points out of 10th place. I need to get a good finish here, as well as his bonus points feel like are invaluable.
And one of 4 drivers doing double duty after racing in Nashville past 1 a.m. along with Greg Biffle, Robbie Gord, and Michael Waltrip.
You know, look like definitely got trouble here on Dave Blaney's car. Notice right there on the left front, on the cowl area, there's a shock there. So undoubtedly they're changing the front shocks, or these shocks in the back. The guys are working. They're not happy with this race car, so they're making some pretty serious adjustments to it.
All right, Jimmie Johnson has led the most laps. Sterling Marlin there right now after that round of pit stops. Let's go back upstairs. They get ready to go green.
I will warn you ahead of time. We're going to crank it up on this restart so you can get over to that surround sound and get ready with the knobs. Sterling Marlin will be the leader. From Jimmie Johnson, Brian Vickers, Greg Biffle, and Jeremy Mayfield. The first car is 1 lap down. On the inside will be Brendan Gaughan, Ricky Rudd, P.J. Jones, and Ward Burton.
Thinking about Dave Blaney on pit road, other than maybe Daytona, Talladega, this is one place you could probably change your shocks under a caution lap and not go another lap down.
Pit road speed, 55 miles an hour. The pace car runs 65. That long looping flat turn number 3, that's where they are right now. And they'll be coming back to green. We'll let you listen to this crowd and 30,000 assembled horsepower. Go ahead and crank it up.
I've already turned my knobs wide open.
Jimmie Johnson, the leader. Vickers. Marlin now 3rd, 3 wide. Funnels into the corner, and Jeff Gordon's on the move. It's up to 5th.
You know, something I found interesting. Jeff Gordon hadn't had a top 12 finish here in the last 3 races. Surprising. Look at, he always runs good here. Making her 3 wide, going into the tunnel, and he made it.
4th place, he takes from Mayfield.
Definitely had one of the best cars in practice yesterday. Actually, in both practice sessions, here you see Mark Martin in the 6th car, making it 3 wide, going by Dale Jarrett in the 88 car. It's a battle for 7.
Now, just the opposite end of that spectrum is Mark Martin. He has his average starting place here at 6th, but got a lead change. Man, that 25 car. You think he may have pulled over and let him go, Larry?
I don't know, but I know I talked to Peter Suspenzo about Brian Vickers in this 25 car. Remember, he's one of the guys making his first start here. They came up here and tested. Peter said in about 2 laps, he'd already figured this place out, but his teammate's not ready to give that lead back to him. Just exactly, Matt.
Tight in the center on that last pit stop. Larry Mack, they made a left side air pressure adjustment, and that was a prearranged move. The 48 allowed the 25 to go by to lead a lap for the bigger picture points.
He gets those 5 bonus points because he is credited for leading that last lap.
Dave Blaney back on pit road as Jimmie Johnson leads Vickers once again. Here comes Sterling with just 2 fresh tires. trying to work his way under Vickers in turn 3.
And I'm sure Lee McCall figures watching Jimmie Johnson and Brian Vickers those first 50 laps, if they take 4 tires, they're going to blow by us anyhow, so why not gamble? And he's holding pretty solid in the 3rd place in the 40 car.
Dave Blaney's taking his car to the garage.
Something happened to that car. It was not running that badly, and now they had to hood up, change some stuff, and now he's in the garage, so something must have happened.
Rusty on the outside of Kevin Harvick.
They're up there battling for the 16th position. Rusty definitely has got this car much better since we watched him qualify back in the 30th position.
Now, you know,
Clear.
even when we were watching him in practice, Larry, he looked like he had a car that would race comfortably. It wasn't as fast as they wanted it to be, and they kept working on that. But it looked like it had a good, comfortable race package.
And he said that. He was happy with the balance of the car.
Dave Blaney and a one-off drive for Richard Childress is in the garage. Dick?
Sorts of work going on underneath the car, Mark. They've got the back end of it jacked up. 2 mechanics underneath right now, and they're working on the shock absorbers on this car, on the left rear and the right rear simultaneously. Shocks coming out. This is a very, very rare thing to see shocks change during the running of a race.
Well, and like Darrell said, what makes it even rarer, his car was actually running pretty good. We just had talked about it before he came to pit road on that unscheduled green flag stop.
They're going to try to get Blaney back out there as Terry Labonte moves past Mark Martin for 7th. Just ahead of this bunch is Greg Biffle, who's got to be one of the tireder drivers here, one of 4 who ran the Busch race last night in Nashville, should I say last night and early this morning, and then flew here and got little, if any, sleep. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, as DW has said, Biffle got here well after 4 o'clock in the morning, so we checked on his sleep. He was able to get about 5 or 6 hours of sleep, waking up about 11 o'clock this morning. Hey, on their last stop, they took a spring rubber out of the right rear spring.
I tell you, if there's one guy that can do that, pull double duty and be up all night and still come out here and run like he is right now, it is Greg Biffle. He is a tough kid.
And he's one of few of those guys that went over and actually qualified his car in Nashville on Friday evening.
Brendan gone. Oils it down, and the caution is out. 3rd caution of the day, and it comes on lap 60 for the Kodak Dodge.
And Mike, I think the benefactor of that caution right there will be a car, and I'm sure that group is glad to see it. Ben Leslie, Ricky Rudd, the 21 car, remember, had to come back to pit road under green for missing lug nut. He'll get the free pass.
Boy, Brendan's had some tough luck this season. He's been fast. He's the most enthusiastic, exuberant guy in the garage, and it just seems like they've had more than their share of tough times like this.
Yeah, well, they just need to work on what's broken, and that's not him, that's the car. So if he keeps his good attitude, keeps his spirits up, they'll get him turned around.
Here's what happened to put us under the 3rd caution of the day. And NASCAR updates us that Ward Burton had just been passed by Jimmie Johnson to go a lap down, so he will be the free pass car.
So a rather catastrophic blow up.
The DW, that's a sight that we very well will probably see a lot, especially in the later stages of the race. We talked about it, these guys turning these engines 95, 9600. Unlike other ovals where it's twice a lap, it's 3 times a lap here with the 3 straightaways.
And some of these drivers shifting as many as 6 times a lap.
Let me tell you something that happens to you. You get to racing people, sometimes you forget to shift. Dadgummit. And you reach up there as a driver, you reset that tach. 10,000, oh, better set that back.
Yeah, right.
You overread? Oh, no, I'm fine.
So Brendan Gaughan will join Kirk Shelmerdine, Carl Long, Todd Bodine, and Kevin LePage in the garage.
I do anticipate when pit road is open with about 9 laps since that last pit stop, I do think especially the back half of the guys will come to pit road because remember, 9 laps, that's up there 1/4 to 1/3 of a fuel run.
Oh, yeah, you got to come in and get fuel if you don't do anything else. You can't gamble on sitting out there and other people get fuel and you don't.
But I think based on what Sterling Marlin did on 2 tires, I think we may see some guys try just those 2 right side tires now.
Pit road's open. Any takers? Several.
I know I'd come down and get me some fuel if I was up there.
Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett come in. Tony Stewart, Robbie Gordon, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, Elliott Sadler, Harvick, Jeff Burton, Earnhardt, Labonte, and more. Dick?
Dale Jarrett is pity because the car had gotten tight. They really wanted to stay out, did not want to pit, but they are afraid the car is so tight that they are going to begin to lose position. Mark Martin already out. Jarrett going to take 4 tires on this stop. That'll be the principal adjustment to try to fix what's wrong with it. His stop is done.
Stewart and Martin lead the parade down pit road. Terry Labonte actually got off first. Now the first 6 cars did not stop. Jimmie Johnson, Brian Vickers, Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, Jeremy Mayfield, Greg Biffle did not stop.
That, in my opinion, will come back to bite them.
And it definitely looked like Mark Martin and that group, Pat tried to change just 2 right side tires.
There's the race off pit road. Terry Labonte.
See it right there.
No, the 6 and the 17, they only took fuel.
So the plot thickens with lots of different strategies in play here at lap number 60. You're watching NASCAR on Fox, presented by Subway.
62 laps in at the Pocono 500 on Fox, presented by Subway from the Hollywood Hotel. Of course, Pocono, one of those racetracks that at least has begun to install the safer barriers, at least in turn 1.
Yeah, you definitely, when you're going down in this turn 1 at over 200 miles an hour, you want all the help you can get, and those safer barriers definitely give these drivers a little bit better feelings. If you ever miss a gear or the brakes go out like we saw with Kenny Schrader a year ago, you want those kind of safety things in place, along with, and I think the most important thing these guys are wearing today is the head and neck restraint.
Yes, and Dr. Dirt, all right, Dick Bergman on the case with this WebMD report.
The Hans device is the most important safety invention to come along since the development of the fuel cell. This is the exact Hans device that Jeremy Mayfield's wearing today. Show us how it fits, Jeremy. It's right over his shoulders, like that, and the tethers hooked to his helmet. Let's see how it works in the car. The shoulder harness holds Jeremy's torso in place, and under the shoulder harness is the head and neck support system. Without that system, when Jeremy hits something in the forward direction, his head would be free to roll forward, causing a potentially devastating injury. But because his helmet is tethered to the head and neck support system, it's solid. His head doesn't move, and that's the safety advantage of the Hans.
And for information about keeping your family safe and healthy, as well as a chance to win tickets to races next season in Daytona or here in Pocono, visit drive.webmd.com.
And Chris, as you take a look at these photographs, you get a chance to see these drivers sitting down inside what I call their cocoon, as far as the way their seats wrap around their heads, the different head restraints they've got beside them, as well as the head and neck restraint. They've done a lot more as far as technology is concerned to make these drivers safer inside these race cars.
All right, so far 7 leaders, 10 lead changes, but Jimmie Johnson, who was so dominant in the Coca-Cola 600.
Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Subway, is brought to you by new M3 Power from Gillette. Feel the power of the world's best shave. M3 Power invites you to enter the Gillette Young Guns Challenge. Each week, a lucky fan wins $5 grand. Go to GilletteYoungGuns.com for details. We're still under caution from Brendan Gaughan's oil down. We've just got 1 to go. A total of 11 cars stayed out, and then one of those pitted, Sterling Marlin. Here's Matt.
Mike Sterling felt like something might be wrong with his right front tire. Jeremy Mayfield pulled up alongside, said it is going down. The crew took it off. They found about a 3/4 inch cut on that right front tire.
All right, the other cars who stayed out were Ryan Newman, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, Scott Wimmer, and Casey Mears. So 10 cars are still on the racetrack without stopping on this caution. We'll make that 9. Casey Mears just came in.
But you know, Mike, at this racetrack, fuel wins races at this racetrack, not track position. I think you got to give up track position here more than anywhere else to get fuel.
And excuse me, that was Kasey Kahne who pitted, not Casey Mears. So 10 cars did not pit.
Now he's the one that's going to L.A., right?
Ask Hammond. All right, first is Jimmie Johnson. Second, his teammate Brian Vickers. We listened in on Vickers talking about strategy racing against his teammates. He's got one in front of him, one right behind.
I mean, I'm not trying to get on him and get him loose or anything. We're just faster than he is right now. So we'll just play it by ear when we go back green. If we get to him, if he can let us by, that'd be great. But we'll just see what happens. I hate to make deals like that before we go back green.
A rookie has never won here. Maybe until today.
But that shows a lot of respect for his teammate, Jimmie Johnson. You know, they're not wanting to get up there and mess with each other just 65 laps in this race. But, yeah, Mike, you mentioned Kasey Kahne, also Kenny Schrader, Jamie McMurray, those guys who were at the tail end of the lead lap cars, like Darrell says, 2.5 miles. You don't even get 2 laps here out of a gallon of fuel. Come in there and make sure that thing's topped off full of fuel before we go back racing.
Just to give you a weather update, the ceiling, the low ceiling is lifting. It's getting lighter and brighter. And I don't believe we're at quite the amount of risk of those thunderstorms coming in as we were. They seem to have moved off to the south. So hopefully we're okay to go the distance.
The vortex has kicked in.
Green flag.
You can see some wild restarts here.
Especially when we have a lot of cars up there that's 1 lap down trying to get their lap back.
It's all about timing here. You start way back over coming out of turn 3, and the guys way in the back get a jump. Of course, you got to pass to the right, but
were they 4 wide there? Probably.
It'll work till they get to turn 2. It better be about 1.5, 2 wide when they get there.
Got to tippy toe across there when there's somebody on the outside of you, I can tell you that.
You could feel Dale Jarrett just hitting the bump there as he went over the tunnel.
And we've been watching all week. They enter that corner at over 180 miles per hour. Here I'm having to really play with that throttle off that long sweeping turn 3.
You know, we heard Vickers' audio, and I thought he was being pretty optimistic that he might be able to get up there and mess with the 48 car.
See Terry Labonte right there in the 5 car. Remember, he was one of the first lead lap cars that came to pit road. Now, all he did do was put fuel in just to keep that thing full of fuel.
22 gallons of fuel here is like gold.
Half a gallon of fuel here is like
I'm telling you, keep me full of fuel.
Labonte goes past Casey Mears, the 10th place car, and the last of those that did not pit under this caution. Now, that caution lasted 6 laps. Let's watch this thread the needle move.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Coming through.
You do know I'm here, don't you?
Yeah. Could I have a little more room, please?
I just don't think that hole is quite big enough.
The problem is it's getting smaller.
These guys are battling for the 18th position.
What's that? The object in your mirror is closer than they look?
DW, you being one of those truck fenders here, you're done.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be doing that.
There are no outside mirrors on these cars because if they started with them, they wouldn't have many of them after lap 1.
I just thought it's 22 gallons is like gold. 23 gallons like the gold mine.
Second place.
Second. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. You heard Brian Vickers talk about getting Jimmie Johnson loose. Looks like he got loose over there in the tunnel turn 2.
Lesson learned, perhaps.
But I'm pretty impressed with this run by Brian Vickers. We've been talking about it this entire race, making his first Nextel Cup start here at Pocono. Tough, tough place.
Good day for the Hendrick cars. Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Brian Vickers, 1, 2, 3, and their teammate Terry Labonte, 10th and coming.
You know, we've been trying to make note to all of our fans out there who Kasey Kahne is. You know, you look at Brian Vickers 2 years ago, he was in the Busch Series driving his own car, somewhat struggling, and then Rick Hendrick picks him up, puts him in that 5 Busch car last year. He wins the championship, and here he is running pretty consistently in the top 5 at Nextel Cup.
3 long straightaways and 3 funnels.
These guys here are working on each other pretty hard. And of course, you saw the 17 get up. You get out wide there, you get the push, and you got to get out of the throttle. The guy on the inside's got the advantage. And he can usually hold it across the short chute if he gets a good run.
Lap cars will figure into the mix here.
the thing about this place is when you can get back in the throttle, particularly over in turns 1 and 2, or in turns 2 and 3, you can really make up some time on the guy in front of you.
Hey, Debbie, I believe Robbie Loomis in that group, they've got Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. They have him dialed in. He's up there right now battling for the lead with his teammate, the 48 car, Jimmie Johnson. His car really gets good on long runs. Matt Yoker.
Back on lap 29, Larry Mack. Jeff was saying he needed grip on both ends of the race car, the front and the rear. Now, they made a track bar and air pressure adjustment on that first stop. Last stop, they pulled a spring rubber out of the right rear. They still have one more in there for another adjustment if they need it. But Jeff felt like that they were desperately in trouble. The car was loose and just getting looser. They made a number of adjustments trying to tighten up that race car, and it is coming to them very nicely.
Now, what they do with those spring rubbers, they're like a donut. And they just slice them up into thirds or fourths or whatever, and they can ease a piece out every now and then to just keep up with track conditions.
For the lead, Jeff Gordon under Jimmie Johnson, gives Gordon plenty of room. Lead change.
Well, if that was your boss.
Yeah, your mentor.
Your mentor.
Your parked car owner. Oh, Joe Nemechek.
That's tire smoke, isn't it? It's like he got into some of that left front.
Clear low. Tire rub there.
You heard his spotter tell him he had a tire rub. He's back in the 20th position.
Clear.
Holy cow. Wow. Looks like he just fell down on the left front.
You can almost see the left front fender, I think, bent in just a little bit.
A little bit of it there.
You know what, Larry? I'm not so sure the tire didn't grab hold of that fender and pull it in there. The thing is so low on the left front.
The last time that car was on pit road, they were working on the left front.
Yeah, something's going on there. The left front's way too low.
All clear. All right, get back after. Get by him,
Look
guys.
at the
You're
left
about
front here.
a half
It
second
looks
left
normal
faster.
height
All
on the
clear.
straightaway.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think maybe if something is broke and drop the left front down.
Right behind his teammate there, Scott Riggs, who won yesterday's ARCA race.
Well, that is weird. How did it fix itself?
Ryan Pemberton, he's watching the same video that we are. Now, let's see if we've picked up from Ricky Rudd's car how that might have happened. Ryan, watch this. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's in the back of Jeff Burton in the 99 car.
And that old tough sidewall in that radial, maybe it's pushed that fender out of its way.
Jeremy Mayfield in the Ray Evernham Dodge has caught Brian Vickers for third. They're about 2 seconds off of the lead.
Yeah, now we're talking. That's a 19 car. He was good in practice yesterday, and I expected great things out of him today, and Jeremy loved this racetrack.
And, you know, DW, I did not hear him shift up that short chute in. We saw it yesterday in practice. You talked about it. As the race pace slows down, you don't turn as many RPM. Now, I'm sure we'll see him shift here on the front stretch. He goes to 4th gear right there. And then we'll see him into turn 1, as we saw earlier with Rusty Wallace. He'll go back to 3rd gear. Now, let's ride with him down the Long Pond Straight, which is the 2nd longest straightaway here. And let's see if he maybe actually shifts to high gear there. I anticipate that he probably will. High gear, and then when he gets to the tunnel turn, turn 2, back to 3rd gear, just maximizing those RPMs on every straightaway.
Now, Darrell, Mayfield shifts at the entrance to the corner. A lot of drivers shift down in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, well, in 1 and 2, you shift in the middle. At least I always did. Across these turns here, you need to do it before you get there.
Now, that time he did grab high gear, but only for a short period up that short chute right back to 3rd gear.
He's trying to catch Brian Vickers for 3rd place.
I know we have caution laps, but if he's shifting 6 times a lap, that's 1,200 shifts at this racetrack, 200 lap event.
That's why we call this join a roval.
You race it like a road course, but it's all left turns.
You'll shift many more times than that at Sonoma, where we'll be in the next couple of weeks.
Here's another one of our rookies, Scott Wimmer in that 22 car. Right now, he's up in the 9th position, just like the other rookies making their first start here. He came up here and tested before he ever went on the racetrack. He got Mark Martin to take him around here in a rental car. Show me where you roll out of the throttle. Show me where you shift. Show me where the bumps are.
That's due to a two-decade-old friendship between owner Bill Davis and Mark Martin, both from Batesville. Now, Wimmer, a rookie, having a very solid run. His car was extremely tight everywhere earlier in the race, but crew chief Frank Stoddard has slowly worked on this race car, making it better and better. Air pressure adjustment on the right side, track bar adjustment. Remember back to 2002, Frank was working on the 99 and Jeff Burton. They were having a great run going here in 2002 before a cut tire ended their chances. Wimmer having a solid run in the 9th position.
Here are 5 of the 6 drivers who've never raced here before in Cup. P.J. Jones is the other, though he's not officially in the Rookie of the Year chase. Third place changed hands. Mayfield made the move on Brian Vickers and went through for third.
And I believe this is the case of Jeremy Mayfield's car, the 19, getting a little better. I think Brian Vickers, the 25, is starting to lose the handle on his car just a little bit.
Plus, Jeremy's got to have he's got to have somewhat of a lower gear in his car, which will help him up off these turns as the race goes on with that shifting he's doing.
That's the reason he has to shift all 3 straightaways.
Neither of those drivers stopped during the caution flag at lap 60. There were 10 drivers who stayed out.
Hey, another car that, again, they rolled the dice a while ago. They were one of the cars that stayed out. Michael Waltrip in the 15 car. But he's had 3 consecutive top 10 finishes here of late. But I think what they have finally done, Darrell, they have found an aero balance that Michael liked. This is a brand-new race car, untested, but it mirrors that car he ran so well with back at Charlotte.
Terry Labonte, look at this. He's still coming. And taking no prisoners. He went right by that battle, made it 3 wide, just like he was on the highway.
You get a double toe.
Jeff Gordon, your leader, at 77 laps. "81 laps into this race, Kasey Kahne's Dodge started from the pole. Here are your Dodge front runners right now, led by former Pocono winner Jeremy Mayfield. He trails Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson by 4.3 seconds right now, as we're into a green flag run that may catch as many as 10 drivers on the short end. Now, we've seen sandwich wrappers, but haven't seen a beach ball on track lately. Nice work by one of the Nextel Cup officials, retrieving that from the inside front straightaway wall, taking it out of harm's way. That beach ball even had a sponsor's name written on it with a Sharpie.
Shameless.
Yes,
just shameless.
Shameless commerce. The cars that did not stop under the last caution include leader Jeff Gordon, second place Jimmie Johnson, Jeremy Mayfield third, Brian Vickers fourth, Greg Biffle fifth, Ryan Newman, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, Scott Wimmer, and Casey Mears.
I'm definitely better in the center. Still a little bit tight action in the center, but a little bit loose late off.
And what he's saying is when he's off the throttle at the slowest point of the corner, the car just don't want to turn. And when he picks the throttle up, you almost can see it right there. The back end has to come around just a little bit.
Real tight through that tunnel turn.
You're going to get real tight through the tunnel turn. That's just what you fight here.
Listen to his voice, Darrell. He sounds bored. It's like, I'll pick up a gallon of milk, I'll get some bread, I'll be home in a little while.
Well, he's out there all by himself.
There's the gap down this long front straightaway, and this grandstand is packed with fans. I don't see an empty seat anywhere. Mark Martin, Scott Wimmer at 11th place, along with Rusty Wallace, 10th. Rusty, Wimmer, Martin, and Mears.
Russell's moving on up. He's in the top 10 now.
And he's one of those cars that, while ago, elected to stay out and try to keep that track position. We see a battle right here between the guy that taught someone what he needed to know at that test, Mark Martin in the 6th, Scott Wimmer in the 22. That's a battle for 11th position.
Now, Mark Martin did come in on the last caution, but he only took right side tires, so he got out quickly, and that's why he's up here racing amongst the cars that did not pit. The best of the cars that did pit at the top of your screen, Tony Stewart, who is up to 9th. Take that back, just ahead of him is Terry Labonte, who also did pit. Labonte is 8th, Stewart is 9th.
But now the problem with those 10 cars there, I was just fixing to say, he's one of the cars. The problem with those 10 cars that did not pit, we are to that window that these guys are having to make their scheduled green flag stops. Go to Matt.
Lap 85, Brian Vickers in, scheduled stop. You can see the wedge adjustment already completed on the right side. He said he was tight in the center and loose off. Wanted to work more on the tightness, DW. Like you mentioned earlier in the race, work more on the first thing he talks about. Is exactly what he wants to work on the most.
Based on the first set of green flag stops, I'd say Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson, they will not be far behind their teammate, Brian Vickers.
Jimmie Johnson just ran the fastest of every car on that last lap, so it's not like these cars are slowing down. The contrary, they lighten up the fuel load late in this run, and Darrell, they're still pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's 54. See, that's 54.8. That's a good 3 to 4 tenths quicker than they were running in practice yesterday, and that's due to the overcast and a little bit cooler conditions.
Jeff Hammond.
Guys, I continue to watch Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he continues to struggle with his race car. He's been saved twice by caution flag today, but if he don't get that car working a bit better, guys, he's going to wind up going a lap down, and it could put his lead in jeopardy as far as points is concerned. Steve Burns?
Hey, Jeff, just listening to Dale Earnhardt Jr., he told his team all we did with those last changes was buy a little time. We're very loose again, just like we were before the last stop.
Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon, who's led over 2,000 miles at Pocono, more than any other driver, is on pit road for a scheduled stop. Matt?
A three-time winner. Gordon pulls to a stop. You heard him say earlier, the car a little free on exit, tight in the tunnel turn. Robbie Loomis, his crew chief, will try to fix that race car's handling by making a small air pressure adjustment. Jeff doesn't want to over-adjust. Service complete on the 24 car, 14.7 seconds.
That leaves 8 cars on track who have not stopped since the caution at lap 50. Now, they don't burn as much gas under caution. The last caution went for 6 laps. So, probably, what, 6 or 7 laps before they're due, Larry?
Yeah, you can figure 2 cautions per green lap here, but I anticipate those guys, they'll be to pit road here pretty shortly.
And they're all running in 12th place or better. So they hope they can make this stop and get back on track without losing a lap.
Well, one of the things we taught, it's a roval because you shift. The other thing that makes it like a road course is you can make pit stops here at peculiar times, and they'll work to your advantage.
Uh-oh. Jeff Gordon is missing a lug nut. He'll come back to pit road.
I see NASCAR right down there right now talking to Robbie Loomis and that crew.
Well, I saw one of his crew members laying on the ground there when he took off, probably the left front, and that's probably where the problem is. Johnny Hendrick right there overlooking he and Robbie Loomis. Johnny's Rick's brother.
And you know,
me? Yes, come in and put a lug nut on there. Get a lug nut ready, guys. Stay calm.
And you know, 2 officials there in the discussion. NASCAR has increased the cadre of officials up and down pit road, where usually there are now an official to watch each end of every car, especially on green flag stops.
And since he was the leader of the race, he stayed on the lead lap. Right now, he's back in 41 seconds behind his teammate Jimmie Johnson. And he'll definitely be a lap down once he comes to pit road, replaces that lug nut at 55 miles per hour. We just saw Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car.
You want me to come this time?
The 2 fellows who stand
Yeah, 10-4. Come on, let's get a lug on there.
to benefit are Terry Labonte and Tony Stewart, 15 seconds off the lead. Steve?
Half around in the right rear is the chassis adjustment for Jeremy Mayfield, and they'll put some air in that right rear tire. Jeremy's saying his car is just a tick tight as Jeff Gordon heads down pit road. Let's go back to Matt.
Gordon comes to a stop. They're going to put a lug on that left rear, top it off with fuel.
He wasn't stopped for long, but going 55 down the straightaway when everyone else is coming to 200 miles an hour. That's what's costly.
But we're not even halfway of this race, and already we've seen 3 major teams have mistakes that had to do with lug nuts or pit road. We had Matt Kenseth with a loose lug nut. We have Jeff Gordon and Ricky Rudd that had a lug nut left off on a green flag stop. We're not even halfway.
And you can always, I mean, it's a team thing, but when the jack is dropped, the driver goes, and the jackman keys off of one of the tire changes, either a front or a rear. So he lets that car down. They'll have all the lug nuts on. The driver doesn't know that. He just takes off.
Gordon comes back on track, 7th in line, and passes Tony Stewart, so he's 6th in line, but he is now 1 lap down.
He's a lap down, and right now, 17 seconds. And here comes Jimmie Johnson, the 48 car.
48 car on the binders, comes to a stop. Track bar adjustment for Jimmie Johnson. A little free in turns 1 and 3 as Quick and McRae come around to the left front. Jack goes up. Shane Parsnell on the left rear. Looks on. He's down and away.
14.7 seconds for Jimmie.
And with where he's pitting, all he has to do now, look how long that pit road is make sure he maintains by his tachometer 55 miles per hour. He knows how many RPM that should be.
And one reason they catch more and more of these things on pit road is there's an inspector in every pit. Used to an inspector about every 3 or 4 pits. Couldn't cover all the pit stops. Now you've got somebody looking over your shoulder all the time.
On the left-hand side of the screen, you see the guy on 5 hours sleep. He's leading the race right now, Greg Biffle in that 16 car. And I think he's coming to pit road. You saw him get real loose. It's because he turned it down. This is a scheduled stop for him.
Right there. Perfect, perfect. You got him, Doug.
But he got his 5 points in that newly painted Pennzoil car. It's the first time Biffle has ever led in a Cup race at Pocono.
He's pitting at the entire opposite end. He's the second pit from the exit of pit road.
Scott Wimmer's in as well, and Casey Mears. Steve?
And Greg Biffle heading down pit road. The intention of his crew, half a round out of the right rear. That's the chassis adjustment for Greg Biffle. Jackman Jeff Burkle comes around to the driver's side of the car. His wife will have a baby in the morning. He's inspired. Left side tire's done. Biffle down pit road. And there's some trouble on the 50
I know what the trouble is. He's out of gas because he was one of the cars that pitted on 51. He's ran 40 laps. I think he's out of fuel possibly.
No, it sounds like it's running. Got transmission
problems. Ryan Newman in the 12 car, he was leading the race. He's the last of these cars that come to pit road besides Rusty Wallace, his teammate.
And he looks slow, Larry, like he's out of fuel.
He's got a little tire rub on the right front.
Yeah, did you notice that? It was right behind his right front tire.
Work me right away. And 4, 5, 4, 3, 2.
What he means by squirt me is I'm out of gas. The motor's not running. Squirt that ether in the cow to try to fire this thing back up.
Steve?
Like Ryan Newman's been saying, he's loose on the throttle in turns 1 and 2, but other than that, his number 12 Dodge is in good shape. And looks like they're having a little bit of problem. He stalls the car on pit road, finally gets it refired.
Well, he was out of fuel, and he was having a hard time getting it fired.
Boy, I thought Michael, he was really slow down there coming through the cut through, but I think he's going to post on to pit road here.
And he's got an early slot, just the 4th pit stall, Darrell.
Yeah, well, they got work to do, so I don't think they're going to take him probably to the garage.
Now, here's a surprise. Terry Labonte did stop under the last caution, but he's in.
This is a little bit early. I anticipate these guys will start pitting in the next 5 to 7 laps, so he's the first of those cars that actually topped off with fuel on that last caution.
And he was in position to take the lead. I'm not sure if Labonte actually led a lap there or not. He did. Matt?
The 15, Mike, was out of gas. They're trying to refire the race car. Lost a lot of time here on pit road, Michael Waltrip.
And Darrell, he withdrew from the luck bank, picking that pit at the head end of pit road, had to help him.
Oh, yeah.
Posting in out of gas.
But it sounded like, watching him try to get the thing going, it looked like he was having a transmission problem, but it's because he's out of fuel.
And even though we had caution, he tried to run 40 laps. As we see Tony Stewart, the 20 car, actually leading the race. He's getting all he can getting on the pit road, and Rusty Wallace and the 2 follow him.
Dick Berggren.
The last time Tony Stewart pitted was on lap 60. He took fuel only. These tires are gone. He told the crew on the radio that he can't get through 2 of the 3 corners in the middle. The other one, he can't get off the corner, so he desperately needs new tires. And they are firing 4 at the Home Depot Chevrolet. He stayed out 1 more lap with Labonte to pick up the 5 additional bonus points he got for leading that lap. Steve.
Rusty Wallace and the 2 car on pit road. They've taken 1 pound of air out of that right rear tire. Rusty Wallace is away.
Jeff Green in as well in the Cheerios Dodge on the right of your screen. Big chassis adjustment on the right rear of that Petty Enterprise car. And we'll mention that in the Petty's hometown in Randleman, North Carolina, Thursday is the public grand opening and open house of the Victory Junction Gang Camp, 9 to 5 on Thursday. Hope to see a big crowd of folks out there to look it all over before the camp opens for business next weekend.
Yeah, Jeff Green's never had a top 20 here in 10 races. So this is not one of his best racetracks.
And we see on the left-hand side of the screen, Mark Martin, the 6th car, he is now the leader. But with all those guys that had stayed out earlier, now that they have pitted, Jeff Gordon is back on the lead lap. He's back in 26th position, about 47 seconds behind Mark Martin. So he is back on the lead lap, which is a good thing.
13 different drivers have led this race. That's only 3 shy of the record, and we're not quite to halfway.
And we anticipate, well, it looks like Mark Martin in the 6th car. He's coming to pit road now. This should start the green flag stop for those guys that pitted back on lap 61.
Elliott Sadler's also on pit road in the M&M Sport. So is Kurt Busch and Joe Nemechek.
That will hand the lead to a man that's not led a lot of laps this year, Elliott Sadler's teammate, Dale Jarrett, in the 88 car.
There's Busch closest to the screen, Nemechek, and there's Sadler. Mark Martin goes out.
These are scheduled green flag stops. Looks like Dale Jarrett, the 88 car. These guys are trying to lead at least 1 lap to get those 5 points. He comes to pit road, and that should hand the lead.
Something happened to Joe Nemechek, Larry. He tried to accelerate out of his pit. I don't know if he tore the gear out. There's fluid leaking from the right rear. I'm not sure if he'll get up to speed or not, Darrell.
You see, because of the overdrive transmission, where you've got that 4th gear position and it's overdrive, 1st gear is really high. Not a normal 1st gear, and a lot of times you have trouble getting the cars out of the pits because of that.
Jarrett finished, Harvick done, Ward Burton is in, so is Kyle Petty, Jeffrey Bodine, Kenny Schrader on pit road, and this will pretty much put the whole field back together within about 8 or 10 laps of being on the same pit stop cycle.
Now we're hearing that Joe Nemechek, in the 01 actually was stuck in 3rd gear like he has a transmission failure. But it looks like he may got it out, and he's back out there on the racetrack. We'll see if he has all his gears.
Well, you can run all day in 3rd gear here.
Yeah, it's high gear, basically.
Bobby Labonte brings the Interstate Chevy in. And Jamie McMurray right behind him, Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt Jr. all pitting. 2 laps to halfway. And again, these are scheduled stops.
And should we stay green, all these teams will have to make 2 more pit stops at least. And right now, that hands the lead to Matt Kenseth in the 17 car.
He is the 15th different driver to lead today. Steve?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. says, whatever you did on the last stop, undo it. So they're going to reverse their track bar and wedge adjustment on that 8 car. His car tight in and loose off. It came to a pretty sudden stop. He's just inside his pit box, but his service is done.
And here's the new leader, Kenseth, coming to pit lane.
And who that will hand the lead to is Kasey Kahne in the 9. But remember, we talked about it, Darrell. He was one of those cars that came in and topped off when they got 1 to go back on lap 65. He should be able to go 2 or 3 more laps. Tires, a few adjustments on the 17 car.
Now, they did something interesting, that the tire changer, when he's done, he lifts his hand. The jackman just doesn't watch for the lugs going on. There is a visible cue by the tire changer that they're done to help the jackman know when to drop that jack.
Yeah, I think that's smart, because that jackman's watching both ends of the car there, front, rear, front, rear, front, rear. He knows that guy's done anyway.
You're good to go.
Kasey Kahne.
That's his turn signal. Getting ready to turn in here, boys.
Telling those guys behind him, hey, I'm going to pit road for my pit stop. See him on pit road, Robbie Gordon in the 31, Dave Blaney in the 30, Scott Riggs in the 10. All them making their scheduled pit stops here at lap 100. We are halfway. Ricky Rudd as well.
And the halfway leader, Jimmie Johnson. We cycle right back around to the Lowe's Chevrolet leading the Pocono 500. Halfway time, good time to take a little break. This is NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Subway.
Fox, glad to have you with us. Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Subway. We're in Pocono, a vacation or honeymoon suite getaway. The race has been semi-sweet so far, Jeff Hammond, and Jimmie Johnson has led the most laps. By the way, the guys led the most laps 9 of the last 10 times here, has failed to win the race. Mechanical problems early, wear and tear.
Right there as far as Todd Bodine, along with Kevin LePage. This race, Dave Blaney driving for Ricky Childers, but then Brendan Gaughan, his car erupts in smoke. Trouble in the 32 car for Ricky Craven, and then Michael Walton runs out of gas.
And then in turn 2, Ward Burton, loose in front of Junior, spins and smokes, but an extraordinary save from Ward Burton. Jeff Gordon passing Jimmie Johnson in a car that Jeff co-owns, part of Hendrick Motorsports, the success they've had, and then pit problems here for Jeff.
Yeah, for our leader right there. They didn't get the left rear lug nut on. He had to come back in and relinquish the lead. You see right there, Robbie Loomis and John Hendrick discuss it in NASCAR, but it's been kind of one of those up and down days, but it's been a real strong day for Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmie Johnson leading, and the rookie, Ryan Vickers, running second.
The 20-year-old, we've had 15 different leaders. 16 is the record for this race. We've just passed the halfway point, and give us your observations at this point.
So far, it looks like it's another one of those runaways for Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus. The car's working really well, but again, real strong day for Hendrick Motorsports. If it's not Jimmie Johnson, it's Ryan Vickers or Jeff Gordon been leading this race, as well as Terry Labonte, their other teammate. He's running fifth.
Well, let's look at Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace side by side. Jeff pulling in front of Rusty.
Got a little close competition there, and the rookie Scott Webber, he's trying to dice it up with these two guys also. They're all racing for position right there, and battle pass right now from Greg Biffle goes around Jeremy Mayfield.
That's for third place. You were mentioning Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick Motorsports has won 8 Pocono races, and 3 of the 4 Hendrick drivers have actually led today. We showed you Jeff Gordon, and there's Greg Biffle.
And did you see Greg Biffle get loose off of that corner? I mean, he had a handful as he came up on that straightaway. I mean, he really had a handful, Chris.
And Greg Biffle, one of those guys who was doing double duty the Nashville race last night, which ended in the early morning hours, had to rush here to race in Pocono. Let's rejoin Mike, Larry, and Darrell.
106 laps, 107 we're running now, and we're just past halfway.
I couldn't help but get tickled when we saw Greg Biffle in that 16 car. Mike, we did the Busch race at Dover last Monday. We watched him run 175 laps off turn 4 that way and won the race.
He does that a lot. He loves to get that right rear quarter panel up against the wall. He does it all the time.
Let's go back and talk about our car right now that's running in the 26th position. Joe Nemechek in the 01 had a great qualifying run, led this race early. We saw the problem on pit road. What we're being told is right now he only has 3rd gear. And Darrell, that'll work around this racetrack. He just has to be careful with his RPMs right here on this front straightaway because he can't go to high gear.
Right.
He just kind of roll out the throttle a little early.
That's kind of the way we used to race here, you know. You just kind of watch the tack. You got it up there to that maximum RPM. You feathered it down to the corner.
You can watch his RPMs down the Long Pond straightaway, and I've been watching his lap time. He's losing maybe 3 or 4 tenths a lap to the faster race cars.
Look at that thing, well over about 9,600.
And it probably will not be as much up this short chute. You can watch it right here because this is the shortest straightaway.
About 85 across there. 80, ooh, wrong.
About 9,200 up the short chute.
It's got some gear laid up in that thing, I can tell you that.
Right here's where he really has to watch his RPM down this long straightaway. But he is 1 lap down right now.
Back at 11th place, Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte have been in the chase all day. There are 25 cars on the lead lap. At lap 108, 92 to go. 22 lead changes, 15 different leaders, only 3 caution flags thus far, and they've been fairly brief. Only 14 laps total of caution today. So Jimmie Johnson out front of his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Brian Vickers, both in Chevrolets. The gap, 12 seconds. Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Subway, is brought to you by Nextel. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. By Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we'll pick you up. By Wendy's Classic Hamburgers, it's better here. And by Napa Auto Parts, get the good stuff. Welcome back to Pocono, where they've just waved the second caution flag of the day. Last week's winner, Mark Martin, big pump of smoke, Darrell, as he went down Long Pond toward turn 2.
Now, he chose to run the current Ford engine in his car because he wanted it for more dependability. He felt more comfortable with that engine. He and one of the other cars, who is it, Larry? Was it Kenseth? Kenseth were running, no, it was Kurt Busch. Those two cars are running the current Ford engine. Everybody else has got the new one. Mark might be second-guessing that decision.
He was running in the top 10.
But he is going straight to the garage. Excuse me, it's the 4th caution of the day. As Martin goes to the garage, Greg Biffle had taken second from Brian Vickers. And as the caution came out, actually the fastest car on the racetrack was Bobby Labonte back in 10th.
But who I think this caution really benefits, one is Jimmie Johnson's teammate, Jeff Gordon. This lets him catch up because of that mistake with the lug nut. He was already up to 9th. The other guy benefits, our points leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he was about to go a lap down again, and he catches the caution.
See, somebody else I think it helps, Kasey Kahne. He got his car a whole bunch better. He catches up, he might be a factor.
Gradually feeling across the racetrack.
Engines are an issue, and transmissions as well. Here's Jeff Hammond at the Ford cutaway car.
Guys, I'm down here at the cutaway engine and transmission. If you take a look in here, there's his gears, the 4 speeds that are used in the transmission. What's happened to the 01 car of Joe Nemechek? He's actually torn out 2nd gear. He got it into overdrive, as they were talking about earlier, which they call it in the 3rd gear position, and that's what he's riding around underneath his caution and everything, trying to finish this race. But over here, if you'll take a quick look, they're already ready. Just in case that transmission does fail, they've got it set up right in behind our hotel, a garage area with 4 jack stands, as well as a spare transmission, so they can be ready to take that transmission out and put a brand new one in. Mike?
Thanks, Jeff. Caution flag number 4 at lap 112.
And I think what Joe actually did, Jeff, is he's actually got it's hung in 3rd gear, which is actually 1-to-1, which is what the gear is, and that way he can get around this racetrack much easier. If he was stuck in high gear, that'd be tough. It would really bog off the corner.
Yeah, what's going to kill him is making his pit stop.
And we see Joe Nemechek, who will get the free pass and come around and be back on the lead lap. That'll give us 25 cars on the lead lap when we go back to green.
And this caution here still would be very, very borderline of anybody making it on one more stop from here, because we still have 87 laps to go.
All right, pit road will be open this time by Jimmie Johnson, pit stall 1. Matt?
What a great last 5 races for Jimmie Johnson, a 4th, a 2nd, a 2nd, a 1st, trying to bounce back from that crash at Dover. They're slowly getting that race car better and better. A slight air pressure adjustment on the inner liner in one of the rear tires. They don't want to make too much of an aggressive adjustment because Jimmie feels like they're getting ever closer to where that car needs to be. Meanwhile, his teammate, Brian Vickers, in the center of your screen, already on the left side of the race car, he was loose on exit, made a chassis and air pressure adjustment for Vickers. Dick?
Well, Darren Jarrett has just left his pit. He was in 5th position when he pitted. His best run of the year so far by far. Steve?
Jeremy Mayfield on pit road. The major concern on that race car, crew chief Kenny Francis saying, let's pull the sheet metal. We've got a little rub off that left front tire. Also, Greg Biffle stopped. They lowered the track bar half around to give him a little bit more grip.
Ryan Newman, quickest along the pit lane by about 6 seconds.
And I think what happened with Ryan Newman, with only 22 laps on those tires, a lot like Sterling Marlin earlier, I think he elected to just go with 2 right-side tires. We know this race car likes being out in clean air. He shows it race after race.
So caution for the 4th time today. Here's Dale Jarrett's crew. Done and gone.
Well, this is not a Lawrence Welk flashback. These are the drivers on the bubble, familiar faces that may float away from the points championship. For example, coming in, Jamie McMurray, 31 points out from the 400 mark. You need to be in the top 10 or within 400. Dale Jarrett, 129 points back. This is a Visa race break with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel, and you see that certain people like Brian Vickers, Greg Biffle, that are on the outside looking in right now, Dale Jarrett, are in the top 5 as we speak.
Yeah, we see that right there, but the guy who just took a big hit and probably his bubble burst was Mark Martin after having a really strong finish at Dover, out early here at Pocono.
Familiar names like you saw, Sterling Marlin, certainly Dale Jarrett. So there, it's really for them a race to 400 to get within that area. The most a guy like Dale Jarrett could make up is maybe 140 points at a day like this. He has to do well and hope that the points leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., has a big fallback in the points, or at least a really poor day.
And so far, he has struggled. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr., a point leader, and he's hoping that Dale will not kind of recover, give him an opportunity to climb back up in the points, and possibly not only get inside that 400-point window, but maybe claw his way back into the top 10.
Another guy needed to claw his way, Joe Nemechek in the 01 car, having problems in the pits and needing a friendly push.
Yeah, you see here, they have a problem with the transmission. Ryan Pemberton, the crew chief, said, I need the 7 best guys I can get this car going. What they're trying to do is to keep him from burning the clutch out, and they're pushing the car down pit road to get it going as far as momentum, but they had too many men over the wall, so they'll have to come back in one more time. Yeah,
and the Army's celebrating its 229th birthday tomorrow. Jeremy Mayfield in the pits.
Things get a little bit closer. If you notice also, Jeremy's coming in, bam, he actually hits the tire carrier on the right front of the guy behind him, who happened to be the 16 of Greg Biffle.
And Mayfield, another guy trying to get, he's within 66 points of that 400 barrier. Let's check in with Steve Burns.
Chris, that led to a very heated exchange down here in the pit boxes. Doug Richard, the crew chief on the 16, ran immediately after the stop over to Kenny Francis, the crew chief on the 19. He was not happy. Richard was feeling that Mayfield had cut through their box. He hit the tire carrier, Jeff Silver. And again, these teams exchanging words, but they want, Kenny Francis said, put it behind us. Let's go racing. Mike Joy.
Mike, if you look at that, Jeremy cut through their pit box. I mean, he was really cutting about a fourth of their pit box off trying to get in there, and that's how come he hit the tire carrier. If you watch, see here, here comes Jeremy, and there he is. He's getting in their pit box right there. The tire carrier is not out of line, just that Jeremy cut that corner.
But, Mike, you and I were talking earlier, even though it's hard to get blocked in these pit boxes, that's one advantage of not having someone in front of you or behind you, is that right there happening.
Big loser on pit stops. Tony Stewart came in 7th, came out in a cluster of cars, could not accelerate, and so came off pit road 16. Biffle all but pushing Ryan Newman on the restart.
He is pushing him because he knows that 48 car is right behind him.
Just remember, Ryan Newman only has those 2 right-side tires. Everyone behind him has 4 fresh tires.
Look at that 48 car drop to the inside. Makes a move around Biffle. And boogity, boogity, boogity down the back.
See Michael Walter right there in the 15 car. Now, he's out there 1 lap down. Remember, ran out of fuel early. He's just trying to become the first car a lap down, maybe catch a caution, get a free pass.
Ooh, boy. He and Biffle got close right there.
Still there by a nose. Watch the 88. 3 wide, you're in the middle.
And here comes Dale Jarrett, who was also.
See what, this is as good as Dale Jarrett as we ride with him here down the front stretch. That 88 car, I think this is the best he has looked all year long. Brand new car. They came up here and tested. Looking real good here, Dick Berger.
Yeah, they sure are. This is the first intermediate house car that they have ever had. Mike Ford, the crew chief, said the car is a bit more responsive than anything that they have had here before. They haven't even touched that thing since happy hour. And for the Dale Jarrett fans, he has been looking for a top 5 since he won Rockingham in February last year. Not a top 5 since then. But if he's going to get one, this is the place to get it. Other than last year, Jarrett had 6 top 3s in a row here at Pocono. He is exceptionally good at this speedway and looking very, very strong right now.
Well, I think they got a nice package here with the in-house car and the new Ford engine. I know the engine guys have got to be sitting there holding their breath. If this thing makes it to the end, these engines do, I think they found the power they've been looking for, because those cars are fast on the straightaway.
They better look in their rearview mirror, though. Look at Jeff Gordon right there. You see it 2 3/4 seconds behind our leader. Remember, trying to overcome that mistake of the lug nut under green. Now he's back there battling for the 5th position, Greg Biffle.
Terry Labonte right there behind him as well, and Jeremy Mayfield right behind him. So, and Kasey Kahne right back there behind him. So this tightened up at the front.
And Kasey Kahne, those guys have made a nice recovery. Darrell, I think 2 things. I think they've made their car better. I think he spent the first 100 laps trying to figure out how to race people.
Whoa, smoke. I think we see smoke out of the 18.
Scott Wimmer got in it in a 22 car.
Must be some oil over there.
Caution is out.
Oh,
Sterling Marlin's in it, the 40 car.
Oh, that's a shame.
And a tough break for Wimmer, who had a strong day going here. He was a lead lap car.
Sterling did too. He led there for a little while, and Sterling is one of his best racetracks. I hate that for him.
5th yellow flag of the day.
Not sure what's up with the 18. He's still going. Bad break for Wimmer.
Way back, but we lost the radiator.
And that will be about the 4th or 5th engine failure that we've seen so far here at lap 120.
See, they're working these engines about as hard as they can work them, so they're expecting a lot out of their last 500 miles.
Sterling had a good car last week at Dover, got caught up in that same wreck from 3 and 4 when the oil was laid down.
Can't see
I don't believe we're going to go to the garage.
I can't see the right side, but it doesn't look bad on the left side.
Front valence, the bottom looks pretty bad. There's smoke from Bobby Labonte.
Just like we saw last week, a little oil there. Some cars just kind of go right over it, and there's no problem. A couple more hit right on top of it, and around they go. You look back at Kasey Kahne and Mark Martin last week, you'd say, how come Mark didn't wreck? But Mark was about 2 feet lower into the turn than Kasey Kahne was.
What did Wimmer get, the outside wall, or did he get into Sterling?
I'm not sure.
Dick Bergeron, what's wrong with Bobby Labonte?
It's an oil line. Remember last week, Casey Mears also had an oil line failure. We've been seeing a bunch of these things. The cars are set up right now, Mike, so that they are running so close to the racetrack, it is not unusual for oil lines to fail, some of which have actually been dragging on the speedway. Can't guarantee that's what's wrong here, but I can guarantee you it's an oil line problem with Bobby Labonte's car.
Let's ride with Robbie Gordon, see if we get a little more insight into what happened here. No.
He made it wide open.
Got to be quick, don't you?
5th caution of the day, 120 laps complete in the Pocono 500. This is NASCAR on Fox, presented by Subway. He passed away this week at the age of 73.
Every performance was a standing ovation. The man just never ceased.
We're under the 5th caution of the day, lap 121. Bobby Labonte with a problem which took Sterling Marlin and Scott Wimmer to the garage. Here's Dick Bergeron.
And here is the problem with Bobby Labonte's car. This is the oil filter that was on it. Indeed, it was dragging on the racetrack. You can see where the racetrack has ground the housing away and allowed this little area to leak oil. Labonte on the radio said that the oil pressure right now is erratic. Matt?
Dick, Jimmie Johnson runs in second, telling Chad Knaus, his crew chief, the car starts out a little free in turn 1. But the problem that he has now under this caution, telling Chad, he says, I feel like I hit something on the racetrack, meaning a small animal. There is some debris, he says, on his windshield. Chad said, do you want to come in? Do we need to pull a tear-off off? He says, no, the only thing I need right now, counseling.
Counseling can be a good thing.
We all need that.
Oh, the things that happen in the Pocono Zone. 77 laps to go. Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is presented by Subway. Eat fresh. A couple of pit stops late in this caution period. Tony Stewart, Elliott Sadler, Greg Biffle, along with Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick. Steve?
And Greg Biffle came to pit road. Mike took 4 tires. They got as much gas in there as they could. They also wanted to make sure that the body on the left side of the race car is okay. Biffle made contact with Michael Waltrip right as the caution came out. There was a big donut on the side of that number 16 on the left side, but everything looks okay sheet metal-wise. Doesn't appear to be any rub on the tires.
Well, we saw that live from the in-car view as Michael and Biffle raced. They're off the corner. There's the bump.
Yeah. Of course, you got to remember that Michael's trying to stay the first car a lap down to get the free pass.
And he accomplished that.
And he did do that.
But believe what I'm telling you, in the words of Jeff Hammond, we're going to see more cars to pit road because right now these guys can make it on one more stop. One car we need to talk about that came to pit road 2 laps ago, and I think he's going to be looking good, at least on the restart, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. He came to pit road 2 laps ago, topped off with fuel.
You know, just like last year, how many times did we say how lucky Kenseth was? Have a flat tire right at pit road entrance. Things happen on the racetrack, and he'd avoid them. When it's your year to win the championship, everything falls your way.
You hear the jet dryers working down the front straightaway. A little bit of cleanup here. And we'll be able to go back to green. The pit forward is out for Brian Vickers. As the cars come around, working the 5th caution flag of the day, Bobby Labonte wore through an oil filter, put some fluid on the track that took Sterling Marlin and Scott Wimmer out of a chance to finish on the lead lap today. Under caution at Pocono in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, 5th yellow flag of the day. Welcome back to Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Subway. Eat fresh. Here's your top 5 as they run at 126 laps. 74 to go as we finish up this caution period. Now, Bobby Labonte is the driver who brought out this caution. Dick Bergeron in his pit.
He dumped about 4.5 quarts of oil on the racetrack. That's a gallons of oil on the racetrack, Mike. These things only hold about 5, so he almost ran it out of oil. They've already made 3 pit stops, refilled the oil that was lost in the car. Right now they're doing a normal pit stop to put 4 tires on it and make sure the car is all right otherwise. So wild time for Labonte, who started out with a car whose chassis was not good at all. They dialed it in, and then they had the oil line problem.
What I'm seeing, of our 24 cars on the lead lap, we've had 10 of them come to pit road and top off for fuel during this caution period.
The rain forecast, apparently it's not headed here. The ceiling continues to lift as we have a look at Dale Jarrett. We didn't get a chance to give you 10 laps during our abbreviated pre-race that lasted all of about a minute. So let's go 10 laps with Dale Jarrett.
Soup or salad?
Salad.
Salad? Okay, healthier?
Yeah. Healthier, yeah. More filling, I think.
How about highway or back roads?
Back roads. I learned that from my dad. Always has to be a shorter way.
All right. Book or a movie?
I would go with the movie.
How about World Series or Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
Reality show or a sitcom?
Sitcom.
I know you like golf a lot. Nicholas or Palmer?
Palmer.
Palmer. And
I guess it would be because I've met him and had the opportunity to play golf with him.
David Pearson or Cale Yarborough?
Well, I drove for Cale Yarborough, but I'm more like a David Pearson, so I think I like his style better.
Okay. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Sunset at the end of the day as opposed to the...
Yeah, I'm not a good morning person.
Country or rock and roll?
Probably more country music now.
How about the old point system or the new point system?
Remains to be seen, but I like the idea of the new point system.
Welcome back to Pocono. 1 to go. We'll go back to green. 128 laps complete, and many of the lead lap cars are coming in to top off because fuel mileage is such an important aspect of winning here at Pocono. Here's Jeff Hammond with today's Craftsman adjustment.
Saving fuel is not only a driver's responsibility. During the course of practice, engine tuners will work with the carburetor by changing the jets as well as the squirters to try to save and conserve fuel. Taking the carburetor apart, they can remove the jet, go smaller or larger if they need to, as well as the squirters in the top of the carburetor, which really has a big effect as far as what the driver does with the throttle itself. That's the best way you can save fuel, is working with your carburetor.
Thanks, Jeff. Everyone has pitted to top off, but 6 cars, and they have waved off the restart. Will go at least another lap as they blow some speedy dry. Ryan Newman did not pit, nor did Jimmie Johnson, Dale Jarrett, Kasey Kahne, Casey Mears, or Rusty Wallace.
And you got another chance here, boys. Might want to think it over.
You know, I think the other car that has not topped off as well is Jeff Burton in the 99 car, as well as his teammate Kurt Busch. But Dale Earnhardt Jr., we talked about it earlier, he was one of the first cars to come to pit road and top off. He's in the top 10 in 9th position.
All right, McMurray is in, Jeff Gordon is in, Kenny Schrader. Right side tires for Gordon before we go back to green. So Jeff Gordon will now have fuel and new tires for this next stretch run. We'll be back for the restart after this.
Caution, 70 laps to go, and Ryan Newman currently leading with Jimmie Johnson running second, Dale Jarrett third, with Jeff Hammond of the Hollywood Hotel. You know, our guys always sound like experts, and sometimes they get to play the role of the guys who race, right?
You're not going to go there.
Yeah, we should. Take a look at this and watch your entertainment value. Fantastic.
Last evening, some of the Fox talent and production team went to Mountain Speedway in nearby St. John's, Pennsylvania for a little street stock racing.
Oh, boy. A little scary. A little scary.
Things were pretty orderly until Neil Goldberg lost control and spun, which was followed by a loop-de-loop by Dick Bergeron. The one big casualty was Chris Long, who started wrecking in turn 4 and didn't finish until turn 1. Of course, it wasn't his fault.
An older gentleman in a yellow Camaro, number 51, sliding back and forth. NASCAR's got to do something about people like him.
I'll finish.
Who won wasn't important. How much we all had to ante up to fix Long's wrecked car was.
No TV people were injured in the filming of that race, which was legitimate. Derek Manning did very well. Bergeron did wreck Neil Goldberg.
Yes, he did.
Although he finished up high. It was a lot of fun. Let's get back to racing, Mike.
But he didn't wreck Chris Long. Long just initiated the big one. Unfortunately, he was the only car in it. Jimmie Johnson goes for the lead on Ryan Newman as we go back to green.
You guys should have come over to Wall last night, Wall Township Stadium over there with me. Had some real fun.
Next caution. I want to hear about that one. It sounds like it was a great night.
It was huge.
For the lead, here we go. Side by side off 1.
Ryan Newman in the 12, he got a good run on the high side off turn 1. Drag racing down the Long Pond straight here. Remember, Ryan Newman has 22 more laps on his left side tires than Jimmie Johnson in the 48. Look at old DJ, Dale Jarrett in that 88 car up there in 3rd position, though.
Hey, that old Chen car is sitting out there. He won the race yesterday, Scott Riggs, the ARCA race. He's got himself in a position to get back on the lead lap here.
And have you noticed who's fourth? That red car of full-sitter Kasey Kahne has climbed all the way back up to the front 4 as he hits the wall.
Yeah, he's been coming to the front. That car has gotten better and better and better, and he just damaged it big time. Got the whole right side caved in.
How about the other Kasey there? The target car, 41. He's going to get 2 cars going off into turn 1.
Well, he's got to go to L.A. tomorrow and film a soap opera. With one of those two, dude. I'm not sure which one. We asked Jeff.
But this is a good run for Casey Mears. He won both ARCA races here last year. You heard our guys talking about that. He's finished 7th 3 times this year with this race car right here.
Quite a bit of damage on the right side of that 9 car, Larry, as he bounced it off the wall down there.
Had dinner with Casey Mears on Thursday night. It's the first time I've really got a chance to sit down and talk to him. I mean, he is a neat guy.
Let's show you Casey Mears. No, let's show you Kasey Kahne. Here's Casey. On the way to L.A., here's Casey.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's big.
Lick. Yes,
that's big right there.
One more look at it.
He runs high on this track. One of the things I think has really hurt him in the race here, down in turns 1, he's been real high up out of the groove, what I call up out of the groove. He's been running high in turn 3.
Jeff Gordon under Ward Burton and the number 50 of P.J. Jones.
Now, that's what you call getting a run right there.
But I think what Jeff Gordon in the 24 car has, along with his teammate in the 25 car, these guys not only came to pit road and topped off, they got 4 fresh tires, too, on that last caution.
Terry Labonte right with him, and his other teammate, Brian Vickers.
Well, look at this. They're doing some dicing down into turn 3. Elliott Sadler, Terry Labonte. Jeff's right there with them.
And to put a period on that story, Casey Mears is going to L.A. on Monday. He's going to appear in a soap opera. Second time he's made a guest appearance, and he's going to play Casey Mears.
It's good little racing going on right here, guys.
See the 3 Hendrick cars hooked up right there. Terry Labonte in the 5, Jeff Gordon in the 24, and Brian Vickers in the 25.
I think we neglected to mention Kyle Petty during that last green flag run. Something happened, and he shot down pit road and made the left turn into the garage and out of the race. Joining Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin, Scott Wimmer also out.
Casey Mears in the 41 car. He's reeling in Ryan Newman in the 12. That would be a battle for second place. Steve Byrne.
Yeah, Larry Mack in the soap opera he's going to appear on is Days of Our Lives. Right now he's having the day of his career. Now the problem he's been battling today is when at the start of a run, on a restart, his car is loose, and it takes that car a while to tighten up. But again, remember, he won 2 ARCA races here last season.
And I think that's something, you know, a lot of times you have to live with here, DW. Be a little free or loose at the beginning of a run. That thing's full of fuel.
Well, and as the race goes on, the track gets, it doesn't really tighten up. It just gets slicker and slicker, and you can't get any front grip. Particularly across the tunnel turn right there. Usually get pushing as you come through there.
Boy, Casey Mears went by Ryan Newman, but Ryan ran up on him coming off the tunnel turn, got him real loose. He goes back by him. We've seen that a lot today.
I don't think that Newman appreciated Mears taking him 3 wide with a lap car.
Well, that's what happens, though. When you run hard into the tunnel turn, you push out. And the guy behind you, he can put a crossover move on you and pass you right back.
Meanwhile, Jimmie Johnson's pulling away.
I've been watching Tony Stewart in the 20 car. He's been doing it every time down this front stretch, going way to the bottom of the racetrack, moving away from cars.
What are you smiling about? Neil Bonnet.
Oh, yeah.
Neil did that here one of the first times where he snaked down this front straightaway, holding off the whole pack.
The difference was Neil was leading. He was trying to break the draft, so he dropped way to the inside in the front stretch. ABC had the race, and Jackie Stewart, a great Formula One driver, was one of the analysts. But he said, oh, this is dangerous.
Oh, yeah,
driving.
yeah.
He really got on Neil's case, and Neil had some very strong words for Sir Jackie. They made up for it much later, but it was a really interesting way to try to break the draft.
Very, very strong words from Victory Circle, I might add.
You know, I tell you who made a good call, I think, a while ago. Tony Eury Jr. and Sr., Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief and car chief. They were one of the first cars to come to pit road and top off. We talked about it, and I think right now they have that car better because he's up there in the 8th position. You see on the box track, 6 seconds behind our leader, Jimmie Johnson. I think that move has really paid off because they've been battling all day just to stay on the lead lap.
Quite a bit. He's got putting a lot of input into the steering. That car's pretty tight right now. When you get the hands over that floor, that baby's pretty tight.
Dale Jarrett has all but caught Casey Mears. This is for 3rd place. Now they're about 2 seconds off the lead.
I mean, this was a place we definitely expected Dale Jarrett in 88 car to run good. He has 3 wins. He has 18 top 10 finishes here, and he had a string of top 5s here that went forever.
You know, they've had 8 different winners here in the last 8 races. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But we've seen some dominant performances here by Jeff Gordon, who led 164 laps in the race here a couple of years ago. Jimmie Johnson today.
I tell you what, when I look at our top 8 just quickly, I think we have only one of those guys is in the top 8 right now, and that would be Ryan Newman in that 12 car, won here in July. Pretty impressed with that 12 car on just those 2 right side tires, but how many times have we seen that?
Jimmie Johnson has led 80 laps today. He's led 7 times. Go back to 7th place. Kurt Busch overcame a less than stellar qualifying effort, and now he is 6 seconds. There goes Tony.
He's running his own race down there on the front stretch.
He's on the local route, it looks like. And Jarrett makes the pass on Casey Mears for 3rd. So it's now Chevy, Dodge, Ford. Jimmie Johnson, Ryan Newman, Dale Jarrett. Casey Mears in 4th. Kasey Kahne in 5th. The 9 just ahead of Rusty Wallace. 3 Dodges in a row. Dick Bergman.
Well, a few laps after Kasey Kahne bounced off the wall, Mike, his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, got on the radio and told Kahne that he had just turned the fastest lap he had turned all day. Nevertheless, Jimmie Johnson, the leader, continues to turn laps faster than Kasey Kahne. They are still going to have to adjust that car for Kasey Kahne to win here this afternoon.
Yeah, Dick, he's about half a second off of what Jimmie Johnson is running right now, but so is most everybody from 5th and 6th on back.
Yeah, when you cave that right side in like that, particularly right there in front of the right rear tire, you lose quite a bit of rear downforce. Guys like to reach there with that 20, with the front of that right rear tire and pull that quarter panel out, almost put a ducktail on it.
See, Brian Vickers in the 25 car, he just goes by Jeff Burton in the 99. That would be a battle for 13th. And Bobby Labonte, he is still on the lead lap, so that group did a great job of repairing that oil filter that drugged the racetrack. I think the biggest story right now is the top 7. Everyone in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in about 15, 17 laps. Since those guys didn't top off the fuel, they will have to be at pit road for a green flag stop should we stay green.
Well, let's go to the leader's pit and ask about that. Here's Matt.
Chad Knaus didn't bring his car in to top off. Chad, you told your driver, Jimmie Johnson, to go as absolutely as fast as you can. He's doing that, a 2.8 second lead. What's your window for having to come in next?
Well, right now we're looking at probably the furthest we can go is about 157. We're still doing a little bit of math, trying to get some things figured out to be exactly right. But I'll tell you what, the Lowe Chevrolet is just running incredibly fast today. The guy's doing a great job in the pit, and Jimmie's doing a good job. You know, it's unfortunate that we got to get out there and mess around, you know, with all those caution laps. You know, and that wasn't NASCAR's fault by any means. You know, they had to make sure the track was safe. It was just unfortunate. All these guys behind us got to pit and extend their fuel window. So we'll just have to see what we can do and see where we end up. Hopefully we'll get a caution around 153 or so, and we'll be all right.
Fast finish here 3rd, trying to add another Hendrick win here at Pocono. Steve Burns.
Well, Matt Yoakum, Ryan Newman took 2 tires after the caution on lap 112. He's kept that race car up near the front, but he just radioed crew chief Matt Borland and said his car has gotten tight on the tunnel turn as he tries to hold off Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, one thing about it, Mike, Larry, that 48 car, Jimmie Johnson, just ran 53.90. The next closest man to him in 2nd place, 54.60. He's beating these cats 6/7 a lap.
But the box they're painted in, should we stay green for these final 58 laps, those guys will have to make an extra stop compared to people like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, and the rest of those guys that topped off, should we stay green.
So he's racing like the race is over. He's running laps like it's going to the end.
As Chad Knaus pointed out, Jimmie Johnson is going to have to come to the pit sometime within the next 15 laps. .54 laps to go in the Pocono 500. Jimmie Johnson out in front of Ryan Newman now by 6 seconds. Dale Jarrett closing in on 2nd place. Casey Mears, Rusty Wallace. Jeff Gordon just went by Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 8th, and Terry Labonte passed Tony Stewart for 10th.
That thing is bad to the bone, I can tell you that. He's beating these guys almost a second a lap right now.
You know, guys, I've been watching the defending champion of this race, Tony Stewart, in the 20 car, and he was one of those cars that did come to pit road and top off, but I'm starting to see him lose time on the stopwatch and lose position. We've been watching him run that weird line down the front stretch. Dick Bergman, what's going on with the 20 car?
The 20 has lost overdrive, Larry McReynolds. They only have 1-to-1. They don't have the opportunity to run it into overdrive anymore.
So he's in a similar situation as Joe Nemechek in 01, but I think he still at least has 1st and 2nd gear to be able to get off pit road, but he's going to have to watch RPM down this front stretch.
Yeah, his him up pretty good here. I thought he was going to pull down and let him go.
But, DW, you know what transmissions, when one gear goes, there's more to follow normally.
Usually a lot of rattling that goes on down in there.
Sixth place the battle. Jeff Gordon pulling up on both Kurt Busch and Kasey Kahne. This will be the pass for 7th. As Gordon is moving back to the front.
Now, with 4 tires and plenty of fuel, he's the guy to keep my eye on.
Jeff Gordon 13 seconds behind his teammate Jimmie Johnson.
But Jimmy's got to come to the pit road, and it'll be a while before the 24 does.
And Jeff Gordon in the 24, he can run about 20 more laps from here based on topping off. Now, Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, he'll be another one of those cars that's going to have to pit here pretty soon, Steve Burns.
Yeah, Larry Mack, he said that his car was a little tight before the last stop, but he likes it now. He's happy with that number 2 Dodge. And Larry Mack has been a busy week. He traveled 7,000 miles in the air, testing in Sonoma early in the week, then flying to Talladega in Alabama for a test there, then on to Sparta, Kentucky, where his Busch Series team tested. And after today's race, he's flying back to Phoenix, Arizona for 2 days of meetings.
And what a lot of people don't know, he flies his own jet most of the time.
You know what? I mean, that's all well and good. These guys got a lot of irons in the fire. But I want a guy like Jimmie Johnson. He does one thing, and he does it right. That's drive that car right there at max speed all the time.
It's paying off today.
And he is the leadingest driver in this series over the last few races by about the distance from here to Charlotte.
We've been watching Dale Jarrett. He made a run at Ryan Newman a while ago in the 12 car, but it seems satisfied right now just to hang back there. But we do know that he's one of the cars that will have to come to pit road. But I worked with DJ. I worked with him in '95. If there's a guy that knows how to save fuel at a big racetrack like this, it's Dale Jarrett. We won the race here in '95. He saved us 2 laps of fuel. That's a lot of fuel. But how you do it, Darrell? Roll out the throttle a little early, get to high gear quicker, pick up the throttle a little later.
Pretty good shape here. You got Dale Jarrett in 3rd, you got Gordon in 6th, and you got Terry Labonte in 10th. That's some cagey old veterans that know how to win this race.
Experience.
Got that experience.
Jimmie Johnson expected to pit road, Matt, within what, the next 7 or 8 laps?
That's the ballpark area. Jimmie Johnson continues to yard the competition. Now an 8.2-second lead over Ryan Newman. And, you know, when you look back to last week, part of that accident on lap 345, but this team has a deadline, showing a lot of maturity. They try to put the bad things behind them. They cannot talk about anything bad that happens the previous week, starting noon on Monday. They look ahead, look to the race ahead, trying to keep focused on the task at hand, winning races, winning championships, trying to win a race today here at Pocono.
There's not a thing you can learn from bad experience except not to do it again.
Jimmie Johnson has a 9-second lead.
Down this traffic jam.
Welcome back to Pocono, where Ricky Craven's Tide Chevrolet went up in smoke at the end of the front straightaway to put us under the 6th caution flag at lap 154. Kasey Kahne was exiting the pits. He'll stay on the lead lap. Jeff Burton, though, was not. He was stopped in his pit box when the caution came out. So Burton will be a lap down, and the free pass will go to Jeff Green.
Yeah, and that 48 car, Larry, what? I think it's a couple of laps away from having to pit under the green here, which was going to shake things up a little bit.
Well, Jimmie Johnson, Ryan Newman, Dale Jarrett, Casey Mears, Rusty Wallace, Kurt Busch, all of those cars were cars that were not going to be far behind Kasey Kahne and Jeff Burton.
Now you don't have to worry. Everybody can make it from here. So put fuel in it, and whoa, man, that's a handful. The old tide ride.
DW, we've got 46 laps to go. It would be a stretch to be able to make it from here. It would be a real stretch.
Matt?
And the 48 guys in their pit waiting for Jimmie Johnson.
Matt, Jimmie Johnson stayed on the racetrack for some reason.
Well, you know, the pace car did not pick him up. He was already past the point for the pace car to pick him up when the caution came out. I just wonder if he thinks he should have waited to catch up with the pace car before he came on pit road.
Because, Mike, you explained the rule. The second time the leader comes by, pit road is open. Steve.
Larry Mack, Ryan Newman just came down pit road. This time he got 4 tires. No other adjustments for Ryan Newman's team, and they like their pit stop.
Got him out first ahead of Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Bobby Labonte.
Now, the only other thing on the 48 car is they could be going to stay out till they get one to go so they can get in their window to make it to the end. What's happening, Dick?
Been really strange down here in Dale Jarrett's pit. They were going to go to lap 158, which is when crew chief Mike Ford thought they were about ready to run out of gas. They got the yellow flag. They were all set to come into the pit area, and Ford said, stay out. Dale Jarrett said, but the pits are open. Jarrett came in, but what they didn't do right, they didn't get all the lug nuts on. He's going to have to come back in, repit one more time.
And I believe another car that possibly stayed out along with Jimmie Johnson, I think his teammate, possibly Terry Labonte, the 5 car, stayed out.
Junior Johnson told me one time here, you want to drive the car or you want to run the pits?
Take your pick.
That's right.
Now, we see the red flag with the yellow X out. Pit road is now closed. And let's see any blockage. They got Ricky Craven's car. They're pushing Ricky Craven's car toward pit road, down on the access lane. And that's why the pit road is closed right now.
The bad news for this, Jimmie Johnson, they're going to be getting close to running out of fuel. See, he just told Terry Labonte, his teammate, who we know is a car that came in and topped off, if we run out, just like we saw Ryan Newman get help last week, give me a push if I run out of fuel.
Matt?
Chad Canales, in fact, did tell his spotter, Chris Osborne, to tell Vicker's spotter and also the 5 spotter that they may need a little love, meaning they may need a push if they run out. What happened was there was some confusion over the new rule. I believe he was waiting for the pace car to pick up the leader, which was Jimmie Johnson.
Now, I know that's what happened. But what I don't understand now is there goes a 20 car in the garage. Oh, my gosh, his transmission gave out on him.
Now, they're ready for him.
But what I don't understand is everybody got to make a stop, and then they closed the pit again. That seems a little unfair to me.
And just now, Craven's car is getting to the pit lane.
4 tires,
He was on
4
the
tires, 2 cans of fuel. 4 tires, 2
32
cans of
cars
fuel.
on the exit.
Everything's going to be fine.
Darrell, I believe they closed pit road for NASCAR to resort the running order. And for the pace car to be in the right place.
Everybody,
Now they
focus on the pit stop.
Jimmie Johnson will get to make his
But
stop.
those other cats came in, you know, before all that happened, and he didn't get to, so a little confusion here. I know why he stayed out. It was the pace car that made him stay out.
Pit road is open.
All right, the pit road has been open, but in order to repair this, it is only open for the cars on the lead lap that did not pit the first time around. Jimmie Johnson, Terry Labonte, Matt Kenseth, and Jamie McMurray. They will be allowed to pit now so that NASCAR can get things sort of back out.
Yeah, here's what happened. The pace car didn't pick Jimmie up.
Pit road is open, Jimmy. 10-4.
So he thinks he's got to come around and get up, come up behind the pace car to make everything legal. The guys behind him all dove on pit road. So when he gets up with the pace car, they come around next time for him to pit road's closed.
Craven's car has now been pushed to the garage, out of harm's way. For Tony Stewart's car, 60, the lead lap car in contention.
Make sure you keep it running, Jimmy.
His team making repair, and now those cars that were allowed to pit
Too close to the wall.
will do so.
And this is lap 157. We knew he was going to come to pit road if we'd have stayed green.
Jimmy, after where you
Matt?
Showing a lot of maturity. All the guys in the Lowe's team, they did not let this affect them. They just want to have a nice, steady stop here. It's Quick already hitting the lugs in the left front. Parson on the lugs on the left rear. And he's down and away to Steve.
Matt, Larry, Terry Labonte on pit road. They will make a chassis adjustment on the number 5 Chevrolet. Dale Jarrett in and out on pit road. Rick Pigeon, the Jackman, gets the car up. The 42 also heading off pit road. Labonte's service is done, and
that did not pit when the pits were first opened. And again, a new rule in effect today. And here's Dick Berggren on Tony Stewart.
6 mechanics, count them, 6 mechanics under the car right now. In addition to them, crew chief Greg Zipadelli under the front of the car, another mechanic inside the car with Tony trying to get this transmission out. They are working with electric tools and everything that they can find to get this gearbox out of here as quickly as possible so he loses as few laps as possible. But a devastating blow to this team. They thought they were going to have a great day today.
I just noticed if his car's like his teammates, Bobby Labonte, I see the oil filter that, if you back up here just a little bit, is hanging down right there. That's that oil filter that probably dropped down a little bit on Bobby Labonte's car and started dragging the ground.
All right, let's talk about the guy leading the race right now, Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. I think I know what Robbie Reiser and these guys are doing. He was on pit road at lap 126 and topped off. If they pit right now with 43 laps to go, they cannot make it. I think he's going to go ahead and maybe run this thing like a road course. If we get this race restarted, he's going to get to his window while he's leading the race. He'll be able to make his 4-tire stop and stay on the lead lap, knowing that most of those guys that's out there cannot make it with what they have right now.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing about Jimmie Johnson. I mean, this, whatever you want to call this, mistake on their part or whatever, could play into their hands because they wanted to get to 157, and they did. Plus, he can come back in now and top up.
So Jimmie Johnson did stop. Matt Kenseth did not. What will end up being the winning strategy here at Pocono?
Here's the mode the drivers are in with about 41 laps to go in Pocono. Matt Kenseth, defending points champ, leading. Kasey Kahne, the 24-year-old rookie who was on the pole as the day started. And, of course, he has 3 second-place finishes this year, has yet to win. No rookie has ever won the race here at Pocono with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel. And, you know, the day started at the drivers' meeting with Mike Helton saying, hey, we apologize for last week for the lack of crispness and some of the delays, and we're under one of those right now. Can you bring us up to date?
Well, I really wish I could. There's a lot of confusion going on right now. The 32 car lost an engine, but all of a sudden there was a confusing as far as the flag's concerned, as far as entering pit road.
Closing
pit road. Some of the guys elected to come down pit road. Jimmie Johnson elected to stay out, and it really got confusing from that point on. I cannot give you an honest answer right now. I know that a lot of guys have already made their pit stops. Matt Kenseth is leading the race with Kasey Kahne, who stopped actually under green before that in second place, but there's still a lot of confusion about where everybody really is as far as on pit road, on the racetrack, and NASCAR is trying to, you know, work it out. And a lot of guys, I think, will take advantage of this. Once they feel like they're inside the window, we see guys coming down pit road, Ryan Newman, Robbie Gordon, a few, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett back through the field, possibly Kurt Busch. All these guys are topping off, trying to make the distance.
All right, let's go back upstairs, rejoin Larry, Darrell, and Mike.
One of the first things NASCAR does when the caution comes out is dispatch the safety car to pick up the leader as quick as it is possible to do so without getting it in harm's way. And, Darrell, this all started because the pace car did not pick up Jimmie Johnson. He was already gone by the time the pace car came onto the track.
But he slowed down over in turn 2 over there, or turn 1 over there. He slows. He sees the pace car sitting there. Normally the pace car will chase you down. You slow down up there going into turn 1, and the pace car will come on after. You see come out, there goes the leader. He should have gone on and chased him down because Jimmie about stops up here in the middle of turn 1 waiting for him. When he doesn't do that, Jimmie thinks, all right, I got to go around and get behind the pace car.
And that's what led to the confusion as to when the pits would be open and then later the pits closed. We'll get an explanation from NASCAR here in just a moment. And we'll be back. We're under caution, the 6th one of the day, with 40 laps to go in the Pocono 500. A lot of cars topped off just before we go back to green. We'll update those in a moment. What happened when the caution came out? The flagman who opens pit road, he thought that the car coming past Jimmie Johnson was coming past after the caution had come out, so next time around he opened pit road. That was a mistake. Pit road should not have been opened until Jimmie Johnson came around another time. Now the field has pretty much cycled back through because a lot of drivers made stops to top off, but not all. NASCAR President Mike Helton came over, said it was a human error, opening pit road too soon. The drivers who pitted did what they did because they saw the green flag. They weren't wrong. The drivers who stayed on the track did what they were told in the drivers' meeting. They weren't wrong, so it was a human error. They opened pit road again to try to correct it and allow the drivers who had not pitted to do so. And that is as close as they can come to sorting it back out without more than undoing what was done. So now, we're back under green with Jeff Gordon racing Kasey Kahne, Brian Vickers, and Jeremy Mayfield for the lead.
Now, the irony of who took the green flag leading this race, Kasey Kahne and the 9-hour pole sitter, remember, he was almost a lap down, sitting on pit road on a green flag stop when the caution came out because so many more cars pitted and topped off. He was leading this race. But right now, the guy that's been trying to overcome that lug nut problem on a green flag stop, he's leading this race, Jeff Gordon, in that 24 car.
And Jimmie Johnson, who was leading the race, now finds himself in 6th place. Matt?
Mike, a lot of conversations on pit road with NASCAR officials. John Hendrick, president of Hendrick Motorsports. What did they tell you, John?
What happened down here is that the official told us that the entrance was closed. Chance stayed out. They came, so we waited for them to clear all this out. They didn't do it, and they said they'd meet with us after the race, which we know they won't change anything then. The other cars got to come back in, and they topped off again. We don't have enough fuel to get out. We stayed out because we thought they'd fix the scoring thing. They didn't. So we're not happy with this. NASCAR official told us pits were closed. Guy started the green flag, changed it to the red. A lot of confusion again, and we feel like there wasn't a fair deal here for us.
Jimmie Johnson been trying to conserve fuel big time, shutting the car off, then refiring, coasting on the racetrack under that caution, trying to save fuel.
Once again, the official who opens pit road did, as was instructed in the drivers' meeting, open the pits the second time the leader came by. He thought Jimmie Johnson came by him under caution. In fact, the caution had not yet been thrown. So the result was the pits were opened 1 lap too soon.
Now remember, Jimmie Johnson was on pit road at lap 155. That's 45 laps. I don't think he can make it from there, even conservative. To update you on Matt Kenseth, what happened under the caution, we got to his window that he can make it. He was one of those cars that came to pit road and topped off.
I think Jimmie can make it if he doesn't get back up there and try to lead the race like he was earlier. If he'll run behind some of these cars, draft a little bit, short shift, he's got a second in the bank. In speed, I'm talking about. Hang back, draft, save some fuel, get up there about third, second maybe, and follow somebody till you know you can get to the end.
The fella he's following right now is his teammate, Terry Labonte.
The thing that really messed up everything was when the pace car didn't take out and chase down Jimmie like he normally would do. And I think that's where the problems, well, obviously that's where it started. And then the other thing was opening and closing pit road in the middle of pit stops.
And I think it would be pretty safe to say Kasey Kahne in the 9 car, who right now is in the 3rd position. Remember, we talked about him making that green flag stop as that caution came out. That was back on lap 153. He'd have to run 47 laps. I think that's a stretch as well. There's Dale Jarrett, though, in the 88 car, working his way back up in the top 10. He's up to the 9th position as he goes by Ryan Newman in the 12.
There's a 48 by the 5 now, and as he continues to march forward.
And there's Ryan Newman looking to the inside. Steve's in his pit.
Mike, Ryan Newman topped off for gas on lap 160. Crew chief Matt Orland told him we're 5 laps shy. See if you can conserve some gas for us. Ryan Newman just radioed back and said, we're going to need a caution. I can't save you any gas right now. Dick Berggren.
Mike Ford has told Dale Jarrett he does have enough fuel. He can make it all the way. Kasey Kahne, the 9 car, cannot. He's going to have to repit.
The tangled wet we weave.
Fuel is king at Pocono.
Not track position, fuel. Oh, Michael Waltrip hard in the wall.
Boy, left side.
He was running in the 14th position.
Man, he and Rusty Wallace.
Seventh yellow of the day, lap 166. A hard crash for Michael Waltrip. Look at all the left side damage.
Left rear damage, real hard rear damage.
And
I don't know if we'll get back to the garage or not.
Come on,
Mike.
Mike.
Even harder. The window net is down on Michael's car, and Rusty's going to try to drive away.
I hate those left side crashes, man. And that is particularly in that area there. The tunnel turn is one of the... I always thought that was the most dangerous turn in racing, to tell you the truth. Because you got no room for... You can't do anything. You go in there at over 190 miles an hour, and you're head-on into the wall. Richard Petty got hurt there. Dale Earnhardt got hurt there. It's a tough turn. And, Michael, thank you, buddy.
top of your screen.
Whoa, Rusty gets into the back of Michael.
And Rusty gets into the outside wall as well.
You know, for as far as Rusty slid, Darrell, he really hit hard.
Well, you don't really, I'm telling you, that's a fast corner right there, and it's 90 degrees. You're looking head on into the wall when you get there. Well, Rusty just had a huge run on Michael. I don't know if Michael slowed down or what happened, but it's almost like Rusty. Oh, that hurts. Man, why they... You know, it looks like they may have been passing some. Maybe they were trying to pass the 42. I'm not sure. Hard to say.
But, Darrell, we've been watching all weekend long with telemetry and qualifying and in final practice. You enter that corner at about 180 miles per hour.
Oh, yeah, Larry, 190 back there that you're going down that back chute.
Scott Riggs will get the free pass. Winner of yesterday's ARCA race.
And he's been trying and trying and trying to get it back, and I guess he will.
We're seeing a lot of our leaders come to pit road right now. These would be guys, I think, that think they cannot make it, but we see Jeremy Mayfield, Jimmie Johnson stays out, Bobby Labonte, Kurt Busch, a lot of cars elect to stay out.
Now, Larry, would you think the 48 car came in last because of what happened with all the confusion? Now, under these cautions, don't you think he could make it to the end?
Well, we've already talked about, you know, it's about 2 cautions for 1 green flag lap. Very well could buy that amount of fuel.
And it's going to be, you know, fairly lengthy caution. You got 2 cars over there torn up big time, so it's going to take some time to clean that up. I think he just bought himself enough time and enough fuel to win this race.
It's still a gamble.
Oh, it's definitely a gamble.
Kevin Harvick at the 29, one of about 5 or 6 cars that came to pit road.
I'm a racer. I just look for the best case scenario.
Jeremy Mayfield, Jimmie Johnson, Bobby Labonte lead the Pocono 500. This is NASCAR on Fox, presented by Subway.
Fox, glad to have you with us here in Pocono. Jeremy Mayfield, who hasn't won in 130 races, is leading here. He's won twice before in Pocono. With Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, the Hollywood Hotel. Quick recap. 500 miles, you're going to endure mechanical trouble.
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan, Mark Martin, all these guys that go in the garage here, along with Ricky Craven with engine problems, transmission problems for 20 car.
That was Tony Stewart.
And his teammate right here, Bobby Labonte, grinds through an oil line, and then because the oil dropped in the racetrack, he catches Scott Wimmer and Sterling Marlin right there. Both those guys get involved in the crash.
Labonte now back up to 3rd, and of course pit problems. Jeff Gordon, who led for a while, knocked down with a lug nut left behind.
Had to come back down and put that left rear lug nut back on. But more trouble in the pits right there for Greg Biffle's crew as they get together with Jeremy Mayfield on the pit stop. Now it's supposed to be cut to another guy's pit.
And then just moments ago, Michael Waltrip, after getting bumped from the back from Rusty Wallace into the wall, both drivers okay. As you see Michael getting out of the car, but certainly that hurts both of them. And they were way back beyond the 400-point barrier, as a number of drivers are, including a guy like Dale Jarrett, who's currently running 5th, trying to make his way up towards the top. All the highlights of this race and much more on Speed. And don't miss a single week of NASCAR on Speed. To get Speed Channel, call 1-888-22-SPEED. That's 1-888-22-SPEED. In the Hollywood Hotel, you've noticed we've been wearing these ribbons all day for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Race Fans for a Cure, www.racefansforacure.com. Certainly any donations and contributions would help. Already they've raised over $1 million, and a number of drivers are displaying these ribbons and paint schemes throughout the year to help the cause.
Yep.
Let's check in right now with Dick Bergman.
Now, Michael Waltrip had 4 top 10s in a row, including the Nextel Challenge, but now a huge crash. Michael, you okay?
Yeah, I'm just amazed that somebody could do something that's stupid. I mean, if I put other people in jeopardy and run over somebody like that, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I just can't imagine what could have led to a mistake like that that would have put me in such a compromising position. Wow. It just freaks me out that could have even happened. I wouldn't have dared to spin out Bill Elliott at Vegas like he did me, and I don't know what Rusty was thinking. I mean, I don't even know what, I can't even fathom it.
We're glad you're okay. Thanks.
I'm happy about anything.
All right, thanks, Dick Bergman. So Michael Waltrip referring to Rusty Wallace, who got into him from the back. And we'll take another look, Jeff. And obviously,
Yeah, come out in
The
corner right
pictures
there.
don't lie.
The pictures don't lie. Rusty gets in the back of the left rear quarter panel of Michael Waltrip. Around he goes, but right after that, Rusty loses control of his car also and slams in the outside wall. But let's take a look at from inside of Rusty's car. As we go down in this tunnel turn, you notice also he just comes up on Michael and bam, hits him right there in the bumper, and away she goes.
That was earlier this season when Rusty was hot at Tony Stewart for some on-track incidents here. Obviously, Rusty wouldn't do something like this on purpose, but Michael's upset with the end result.
Well, it's the heat of the moment right there. That was a hard impact. Michael's having a pretty good run today. He's been trying to turn his whole year around, but you look at this race car, I mean, that is a hard impact to the left side of the race car right there, almost in that driver's door.
And Michael Waltrip, a guy who could be a little tired and edgy after running the Busch race in Nashville, which, because of delays, ended after 1 o'clock in the morning, and then had to come back here and race in this race. And he's trying to work his way back into a points race.
When we take a look right at the inside of this race car, you can see the roll cage area where the driver sits. You can imagine the left rear tire getting driven up almost right in the back of the driver, the roll cage itself trying to collapse in on the driver, and the driver itself coming toward the roll cage and the wall. That's the reason why this is a very dangerous accident that occurred. So a lot of, I think, animosity and intensity right now from Michael Waltrip because of what happened.
And he's one of the tallest, if not
one of the biggest
tallest
guys on the
drivers
circuit
who's ever run on the circuit, and that makes it a little bit more painful with the impact.
Yeah.
Let's check in with Steve Burns.
All right, thanks, Chris Myers with Kenny Francis, crew chief for Jeremy Mayfield. Let's talk about your strategy here. I guess the big question is, Kenny, do you have enough fuel to run to the end?
Well, we're going to need some brakes to go our way. Right now, we probably don't, but we got in that little accident on pit road with Biffle's guy there and put us behind. And it felt like it was our only shot to have a decent finish. Maybe something will go our way for once. Nothing's gone our way. Seems like all year, so maybe it's our turn. So we'll just have to see what happens.
All right, good luck. Let's go back upstairs to Mike.
Thanks, Steve. Mayfield is our leader. Trying to repeat here at Pocono. There is Rusty's car. Rusty has not DNF, did not finish since last August at Bristol, the last time he wasn't running at the end of a Cup race.
Let me tell you what's going to make it tough for Jeremy Mayfield to really save a lot of fuel. In final practice yesterday on FX, we watched him shift 6 times a lap. They have a very low gear in that race car, which makes it harder to save fuel.
He's trying to right now. He's in 4th gear, just trying to idle around. All right, now this puts Jimmie Johnson back up in striking distance. He's in 2nd place, Matt.
Chad, where do you stand on fuel?
Right now, we're probably about a lap short. That whole deal, pits being open, pits being closed, it's really messed up our whole game plan. We're just going to have to kind of wait and see what happens here. Get him out front, and hopefully you can pass the 19 car, get by him, and then get out there and save some fuel. Low Chevrolet's been running great all day. We haven't made any mistakes in the pits. The guys have done a great job. Pit strategy's been good. It just, they told the pits were closed, and everybody came down pit road, so I haven't quite gotten it figured out. They changed the flag halfway in between the pit cycle there. It was green, it was red, it was just a mess, so we'll just have to get ready to go.
What's he doing to save fuel in the car quickly?
Praying.
Good answer. Bobby Labonte is 3rd. Kurt Busch is 4th. Dale Jarrett is 5th. Ryan Newman, Earnhardt, Mears, Robbie Gordon, McMurray, the top 10. Warren Burton, Kenseth, Biffle, Sadler, Kane, the top 15. There are 22 lead lap cars as we get set to try to finish this off and run the last 28 laps.
I do know prayer works. I prayed myself home a couple of times.
Green flag, green flag.
Lynn Jeffers tells me that Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 was last on pit road, lap 155. That would be 45 laps to go.
That's a lot of laps on one tank full.
But I think what Jimmie Johnson wants to do, he wants to get the lead, then he can just sit out there and pace himself.
Darrell, well, like I said, he's got a second in the bank in speed. He can back up a second and still outrun all these cats, and that's going to save a lot of fuel.
Single file here, 3 wide behind him.
And look at our 3rd place car, Bobby Labonte, the 18 car. You got to tip your hat to that crew. Michael Fatback McSwain, remember, he's the car that drug the oil filter into, that put oil all over the racetrack, stayed on the lead lap. He's up there in the 3rd position, and his teammate, Tony Stewart, in that 20 car, we need to make note. He's back out there 6 laps down. Those guys changed that transmission in less than 10 minutes.
McMurray to the inside, way to the inside, and he's got a lot of help. There goes Stewart right behind him.
And look at our
Robbie Gordon.
Look at our points leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. Remember, he fought to stay on the lead lap most of the day. I'm going to contribute this track position right here to that call that group made earlier when they topped him off just after a caution came out. He got the track position. He kept it. Now he's battling Ryan Newman for the 6th position.
Clear.
Newman lets him go, Darrell. That's a place you don't want to be side by side, do you?
No, we've seen that all day. You know, you just can't do
Two of them inside.
The guy on the inside is going to slip up into the guy on the outside.
Clear.
So you got to really watch it.
And Kenseth here, right with them, having another great day. The target dive.
You know, his teammate, we've not been able to talk about him a lot today. Jamie McMurray back there in the 42 car. He has finally clawed his way into the top 10.
I noticed the 25 car went by then, Larry, and he's been against the fence somewhere because he got the right side of it all scuffed up.
You saw Jeff Gordon duck underneath and take a spot away from both Vickers and Terry Labonte. Whoa! The 50 car, P.J. Jones, stuffed into the wall coming off that corner.
And then you can do that. You come off that corner carrying a lot of speed, and that thing will jump sideways and smack the wall.
And I'm going to tell you, Jeff Gordon's very lucky he didn't bounce back off the wall right into him because he was right to the left of him when he hit that wall. I think we'll see it right here.
I think one thing is you notice that's right at the end of the new soft barrier, right there. See how it sticks out there?
I mean, you see how close Jeff Gordon was to that.
No contact and not a lot of damage on the 50.
He hit the safer barrier over there. They don't seem to do as much damage as a regular wall does. They're not supposed to, and they don't.
And, Darrell, I've been watching Jimmie Johnson, our leader right now. He got by Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. He seems content just to ride right there. All he wants to do, we talked about it, just keep the lead.
Yeah, matter of fact, you know, he's probably telling Jeremy, come on, push me. Save a little fuel.
3 wide right here. Jeff Gordon trying to come to the front on Biffle. Ricky Rudd outside, and Stewart in trouble.
Running around.
Caution flag.
Now, this is going to help Jimmie Johnson, Jeremy Mayfield, those guys that are out there trying to save fuel. These cautions will allow that. Because I think they're painted in a box, Darrell. I don't think with 25 laps to go, they can come to pit road and give up track position.
Now, Jimmie Johnson just passed the pit open close man with the flag. So that's the first time. And it's his job to watch for that leader and know when the caution is out so that the next time he comes around is the second time and the pits will open. That's how it's supposed to work, and that was the call that he made the time before, but it turned out to be an error because the first time Jimmy went by, the caution was not yet out. So just simply human error. Things will cycle around here before we get done.
Yeah, and you're probably right, but all those calls come from the tower. I mean, normally you wouldn't, you know, you just must have picked up the wrong flag. It's got to be the only explanation.
Ride with Dave Blaney. Stewart just went around.
Looked like he was awfully high up there, Darrell, over there in the turn 2 area.
Well, he's 6 laps down. You know, he could have been trying to get out of people's way, and he got in there and got in the loose stuff. Spun the thing out. I don't think he appeared to hit anything. It's unusual to see those flaps in front of the cow flaps come open like that.
And that was actually off turn 1.
See, the roof flaps up, turns around, and then the cow flaps come up. So air was definitely flowing underneath the car.
And watch the car and left the screen right there. Scott Riggs is going to be the luckiest dog today. Now, he got the free pass on the last caution. He was 2 laps down. That made him the only car 1 lap down. So now he gets the free pass on this caution. He's back on the lead lap.
And last week, you know, he had a great run, finished 5th, and was a lap down, and because of some good cautions and good brakes.
We listened in on Jimmie Johnson, who is now the race leader.
How you doing, bud?
A little free over there. I'm better than him everywhere else. I just got to wait for one to come to me. This should help me.
4. Keep saving fuel, okay?
And Darrell being a little free, I think it's a little easier to save fuel, too. If that car is pushing, not turning, the car's bound up, and you're using more fuel.
I still continue to love the communication between Chad and Jimmie Johnson. I mean, it's like 2 buddies. They're out there, you know, and they're working together.
Seeing Kasey Kahne, Brian Vickers, Elliott Sadler, Jeff Burton, some cars that are a lap down, they're coming to pit road, 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, Jeff Green, who's now a lead lap car, he got a free pass a couple of cautions ago. Jimmy Spencer's in as well. Spencer is a couple laps down. 16 different leaders today ties the record. Tony Stewart has spun to bring the caution out for the 8th time today. 23 laps to go. Don't leave. Here in 22 laps. That's how far we are from the finish of the Pocono 500. Jimmie Johnson, Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Labonte, Kurt Busch, Dale Jarrett lead 23 cars on the lead lap as we finish up the 8th caution of the day.
Let's look at this one more time. I mean, I don't blame Michael for being upset because Rusty really just drove hard into the back of Michael, but there's got to be a reason.
Clear. Clear.
He just cleared a car, and I mean, you don't misjudge a corner that far. I'm not sure if he lost his brakes or...
Went into turn 3 and lost my brakes. Tunnel turn.
And that's what happened. Rusty Wallace saw the nose of the car just shoot left and right real quick before he got into Michael, and you heard Rusty say no brakes.
As you get this point in the race, you've worn the pads way, way down. I mean, you've probably got a third of a pad left. Going down these long straightaways, the rotor will bump those pads back away from the rotor, and when you first hit the brake, sometime it'll go to the floor, and you got to pump it a couple of times. He didn't have time to pump it a couple of times.
You definitely use a lot of brake at this place, 3 times per lap.
A lot of guys have run out of brakes here through the years.
Finishing up the 8th caution flag will be just inside of 20 laps to go. And again, from the race leader.
The 19's really having a lot of problems. They don't think that they can make it on fuel. He's going to try to start throwing in neutral and doing stuff like that, possibly even under green. So all we got to do is just stay ahead of him, and I think we'll be fine, all right?
Chad Knaus to Jimmie Johnson. Now Steve is in Jeremy Mayfield's pit.
And Mike, I'm listening to Kenny Francis talk to Jeremy Mayfield right now, and he says it's going to be close. And you heard the radio transmission from Chad Knaus. Kenny Francis did tell Jeremy, if you put it in neutral when you're coasting in the corners, you won't burn as much gas.
Well, the best friend of these guys right now are these caution flags, caution laps.
I've done all those things, put it in neutral. I've actually turned the engine off, let it coast, let it kick back, see, playing around with the gear shift there now. Hear him? He's cutting it off. Now you'll coast. Cut it, turn it back on. And that saves, I'm telling you, it only saves ounces, but we're only talking about ounces.
Ounces could mean the difference in turn 3 to the checker flag.
That's it. Now, once he goes back to green, he can feather out of it a little bit, keep the RPM down a little bit, and it'll get a little more mileage.
Daryl, you can't win by doing that.
No, you can't, but you finish, and second is better than running out of fuel. You just got to milk this baby home.
And get that thing in overdrive sooner than you normally would, a higher gear.
You short shift. You come off turn 3, instead of coming down here to the start line, you jerk it back in high gear.
Ready.
Here we come. 20 laps to go.
Green.
Listen, Larry, I've been here and done this a bunch. I know what that feels like.
Everybody peeks out.
The 24 car, he's back there in the 13th position. We feel like he's one of the cars that maybe has enough fuel, unlike possibly his teammate, Jimmie Johnson. He came to pit road topped off. We feel like most of this group can make it to lap 200.
This is fun to watch down this front straightaway.
Oh, yeah, you duck out. Sometime you get a run off of 3. You can get such a great run off of 3 sometime, but you can duck out, dive to the inside. You're trying to break the draft, the side draft. So you're about way down on the inside and get away from that guy.
Dale Jr. behind Jarrett has finished 6th or better in the last 3 races. He's 6th right now. Trying to hold that point lead.
Doing what you have to do on a day when maybe it's not as good as you'd like it to be. That's to get a good finish.
Jarrett has a run on Kurt Busch. This is for 4th.
Don't count that guy out right there. I'm telling you. Dale Jarrett knows how to save a little something for the finish.
Go on up there and get Robert.
Go on up there, boy. Get him.
You've heard that before, too.
Yes, sir. You the man.
Little cheerlead never hurts.
Look at this crowd. Kenseth following Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte following Kenseth, Biffle following Labonte on the inside.
Yeah, it used to be fun, Larry, when you could call them up and say, okay, boys, I'm going now.
It's like Gordon caught a little bit of the edge of the asphalt there.
Tell you what, Robbie Gordon out here in the 31 car, he's up in the top 10, up in 9th position.
Another one of those sleepless night drivers from Nashville last night.
Gordo got cut off there by Ryan Newman.
Hey, congratulations to Jason Leffler, who won that Busch race in Nashville.
That was great. Him and Boogie Barker, I knew they were going to win a race. They've been closer and closer and finally pulled one off. Robbie
hit the curve. He hit the curve.
He hit Newman. Yellow.
Round goes
under you.
But I think what we'll see,
3 more coming.
Robbie Gordon got on the curve. It shot his car right up into Ryan Newman's car.
Yes, sir. That curve on the inside with those rumble strips got to really upset the car.
You see right here, Robbie gets a run down on the inside. Gets in there, he's a little bit loose getting in, and he hits that curve. Just brushes into the left front of Robbie, but that's where you hit that left front tire, and it jerks the steering wheel right out of your hand sometimes.
And Ryan Newman's one of those guys, he did not need this kind of a day, had a bad day at Dover. Remember, he came in here 10th in points. I think you'll see it right here.
It's real bumpy when you get right down on that curve going into that turn. And that curve is a lot bigger than it looks like it is. Gets loose. Anytime you hop in there, and it looked like Robbie was trying to clear him, hop back in the throttle, and she took off. Back in, gets this a tiny bit loose, but Ryan Newman was right down on him, didn't have a lot of room, and they touched.
Now, Rusty Wallace and Michael Waltrip brought out the 7th caution on the day at lap 166. Dick Berggren is with Rusty.
Rusty has been in his motorhome, has taken his shower. Michael Waltrip was very critical of you in that accident. We did hear the radio transmission between you and your crew talking about losing your brakes, your side of the incident.
Well, that's just the side of it, and I don't blame Michael for being upset. I'd be upset too if somebody hit me in the rear end. But I got to tell you, when I went in the tunnel turn, I had no inclination whatsoever that I hit the brake pedal to go completely to the floor. I'm pumping it like crazy, trying to get stopped, and I've wrecked myself out of the deal. So no way in the world I'm trying to take anybody or hurt anybody or anything like that. It's hard racing, but when I hit the brakes, she went to the floor, and the last thing I want to do is take my own car out. That happened.
Okay, thank you, Rusty.
And, you know, I don't think if Rusty had had brakes, he'd have never spun out and wrecked it like he did.
I think what we saw, that little juke of Rusty's car, was maybe the first hit of the pedal, and the second hit moved it, and there he was.
No, well, what happens is, Mike, you hit it the first time, nothing's there, and you panic. And now that old left foot's gone crazy. Pump, 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 pump. And that dives the nose down as you get the pedal back.
What a tough day for the Penske cars. Brendan Gaughan loses an engine early. We just watched the incident with Rusty Wallace, and now the 3rd Penske car, Ryan Newman, is crashed.
So Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus get to talk again about what will we do.
How's your hot rod, bud?
Coming to me like I need it.
4. You're doing a great job, buddy. Just an update, the only car really that looks like he's coming up there strong would be the 88 right now, and he's 4th.
You're leading the race, Darrell. What do all these cautions do to you? You think you got it one, you think you can go on, another caution. You think you got it one, another caution.
Yeah, I think right now it's somewhat of a relief to the 48 because they know they're not going to run out of fuel now. That's going to take that out of the equation. Now you got to be Chad Knaus and say, who's behind us that's been sleeping all day? And I think they're going to find out that it's that guy with that ups on his hood.
I think it also could be the guy right in front of him, Bobby Labonte, Steve Burns.
Mike, we're listening to the radio communication between Matt Borland, Ryan Newman, and the rest of the crew. Ryan has just killed the motor. They're trying to decide if they even have enough laps or enough time left to make any kind of a fix to that race car that would help them pick up some laps.
16 to go in this race. For Newman on the board, he's still a lead lap car until they come around. So he'd have to run at least 7 of those 16 laps to gain a position. Otherwise, he'll be the 30th place finisher.
saw Robbie Gordon in the 31 debating about coming to pit road, but for the most part here, with 15 laps to go, all of our leaders stay out. But just to update you on our two leaders, Jimmie Johnson in the 40 pit road with 43 laps to go at lap 157, but Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 right behind him, and also Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's back in 6th. Those guys were on pit road at lap 155, 45 laps to go.
Whoa. If we run enough caution laps to make that happen or not.
Yeah, the race has come to them, maybe.
We're riding with Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett along with Bobby Labonte and Kurt Busch. That would be 3rd through 5th. Those guys were on pit road at lap 160, which is 40 laps to go in this race.
It's 570 miles from here to Charlotte. That's about how many more miles Jimmie Johnson has led than anybody else in the last couple of races.
Let me tell you, they can talk about aero package and new tires or whatever they want to, but they have got it hooked up, buddy. That car, he could easily have won Dover last week. Didn't get in that wreck. They got the car to beat every week right now.
Ryan Newman is done. He will be unofficially the 30th place finisher today.
Remember, we just spoke about him coming into this race 10th in points. This could be a big break for Jamie McMurray in the 42 car. He's sitting in the 7th position right now. He was 11th in points, about 64 points behind Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman is a wanted man right now, Larry. That's the spot that if you're over 400 points behind, you got to get into 10th place. No matter how many points you are behind, that gets you in the final 10 races.
$15 laps to go. A rash of cautions in the last 50 laps, 4 of them so far. Next week, we're off to Michigan for Father's Day weekend while the Busch cars are in Kentucky. Speed Channel has qualifying from both venues on Friday. Next Saturday, FX has final practice for the Cup cars at Michigan and the Busch race presented by Subway from Kentucky. And next Sunday, Fox Sports Net starts your day with NASCAR this morning. And we'll have coverage of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox. Steve.
And with Ryan Newman, Mike. Ryan, you guys really battled to stay at the front all day. What happened there at the end?
Just gotten reckless Robbie's way. The Alto Dodge wasn't that good in traffic, but it was good up front. And just lost the track position there. And Kurt Busch was blocking me, and a bunch of other stuff was going on. But I guess we'll just go on to Michigan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Watch the left front. Pow, that's what put him out. Hard hit there.
I think what he's talking about, Kurt Busch, I think that happened going down the back over there into the tunnel turn. That got him pushed to the outside and let those cars get under him and start making the passes that they did. I think that's what he's referring to.
Who has it up for Jimmie Johnson? I'm wondering about Bobby Labonte. Dick?
Well, maybe. He started 17th today in a car that was handling very poorly, but Fatback McSwain and his crew have adjusted the car so it's real fast. You got enough to win the race?
I don't know. I mean, right now is when they can smell the front. Anytime they can smell it, that's always worth a half a second. So we want to think so. I mean, these guys have worked really hard, and the two teams together, the 18 and the 20, we sat down a hauler this morning, and neither one of us were that good yesterday, and we put our heads together and shook it up in a bowl and came out with a setup, and we both had pretty good cars after a lot of changes. But, you know, we'll see. He can do it if anybody can.
How about that crew on the repair?
Well, like I say, it's been a busy, busy day. So I think we've been as low as 38th, and the guys worked hard. They filled it back up with oil, and we're running third with 12 to go.
The end's in sight. Good luck to you.
Labonte in position to challenge behind Mayfield, ahead of Jarrett, Busch, Earnhardt, and McMurray and Mears. Ricky Rudd got the free pass, so now he'll be the only car 1 lap down.
And he's been trying to get back on the lead lap ever since he had that lug nut problem on a green flag stop way back at the beginning of the race.
Jeremy Mayfield, you rode with there, the only driver to get his first Cup win here at Pocono.
2 wins here. Likes this racetrack.
There's your leader, Jimmie Johnson. Jeremy Mayfield in second. Take you back through a bit. The drivers in contention. 22 of them are on the lead lap. As they get 1 to go, we'll try to race the final 13 circuits.
keep making note. These caution laps, they are the best friend that Jimmie Johnson, especially Jeremy Mayfield, along with Dale Earnhardt Jr., and for the most part, all these guys that have been trying to stretch this fuel mileage.
I think you're going to be okay now, Larry.
I think so. See them trying to keep their tires cleaned off. You know, with this many laps, this many cycles on the tires, Darryl, you know the worst thing in the world can happen on a restart is spin those rear tires.
Yeah, this has been a good tire. These guys have liked it quite a bit. They've run it a number of times already this year. They run it at Bristol, they run it at Richmond, they run it at Las Vegas, and they're going to run this tire at Indy. So it's been a good tire.
Let's go back to the leader's pit.
Mike, when the caution came out, Chad Knaus asked Jimmy, how's your car? He says, it's coming to me just like I need it. Looking over the fuel mileage calculations, Chad just told him, we are good, good, good. Go as hard as you can go.
That's bad news for everybody.
Yes, it is.
Because if it's anything like it was earlier, that's about that's 6/8 over everybody else.
I believe I still just want to run hard enough to stay in front right now. I don't want to push the envelope on this fuel.
What's that strategy called? Run just slow enough to win.
You got it. A lot of documentation about how much you win by just the fact that you won.
You can see some anxious crews here because they're really not sure. Like a Bobby Labonte. Has he been holding back? Does he have anything left? Like Jeremy. Can he get up there? He's been there. Can he make the pass? And I still think Dale Jarrett is the sleeper.
2 Chevys, a Dodge, and 2 Fords in the front 5.
Pace car be pulling off this time.
Since we only have 12 laps to go, not within that 10-lap window, it'll still be a double file restart with a couple of lap cars on the inside of Jimmie Johnson and Jeremy Mayfield.
Green flag, come on.
Boy, Jimmy gets a good restart.
See ya.
I think so. I like what I'm seeing if I'm driving that 48 car. Y'all race for second. I'm going on out. I'm getting out of here. Bobby Labonte on the outside of Jeremy Mayfield gets a pretty strong run right there. He could get a suck down the back and make a run on him going through the tunnel.
There's the battle in and amongst the lap cars.
And here comes Hunter.
Oh, boy, somebody's got to give.
Oh, man.
P.J. Jones in that 50 car, I think he's going to pay the price for that.
That was
Caution is out, too.
That was almost a disaster.
You can run 3 wide down the Long Pond Straight. It will not work getting into 2.
P.J. just didn't give him enough room. I mean, that was just, that could have been avoided there.
So the 10th caution of the day flies for the tire rub on P.J. Jones.
I'm not sure about that caution. I didn't see any debris.
No, Darryl, but with what's happened today going into the tunnel turn, let's see here.
See Jamie McMurray in the 42 car jumping to the inside of P.J. Jones. He's trying to take the position away, actually, from Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Ooh, no, P.J. didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I think Jamie McMurray realized he was way too low to enter turn 2.
Trying to get the line he needed to make the turn, and he got up into P.J.
Yeah, Jamie was way too low right there to make it into turn 2 and try to complete that pass on the 8 car.
Yeah, he just come up into him just ever so slightly. That could have been ugly.
And, you know, you hate that for P.J. Jones because this is the first Nextel Cup race he has competed in a long, long time. And you know what? He'd been keeping his nose clean. He was in the top 25, just kind of doing business and trying to just finish this thing.
And he was trying to get to 1 lap down. He was the first car that was 2 down, running in 24th.
One shot, one opportunity.
Caution flies again. 10 to go next time by.
One moment.
10 laps to go to finish off the Pocono 500, and nobody leaving. Nobody sitting either. They're getting ready to see if Jimmie Johnson can hold on. Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Kurt Busch, or one of these 5, as there are 22 cars on the lead lap. Ricky Rudd will get the free pass. 3 cautions in the first 100 laps and 7 yellow flags since. We've had a total of 50 caution laps today out of the 200.
Tell you what, when I look at our top 5, there's a lot of hungry guys that would love to get to victory lane right now. Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett especially. You know, as Dick Bergman pointed out, hadn't even had a top 5 finish since he won at Rockingham February a year ago.
Well, he likes this. It's a new car. It's an in-house car. It's got the new Ford engine in it. I think it came with the right stuff this weekend.
This will be a single file restart as we're under 10 laps to go.
Yeah, I just watched Dale Jarrett as we watched the 48 group, watched the 19 crew here, Bobby Labonte's crew. Dale Jarrett, they have the new Ford engine. Kurt Busch running right behind him, it was told earlier, they don't have the new package.
And Mark ran the old engine because of the reliability, and he fell out with engine problems.
Go figure.
Both of last year's winners, Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman, by the wayside. Stewart with a transmission repair is back out there. Looks like another lap before we go back to green to finish this off. They're going to give 1 to go. We'll go back one more time to the Hollywood Hotel.
Jeremy Mayfield, kicking up a memory when he won his first race here and was running second at that time. He's currently second now.
Well, he definitely knows how to do the little, I call the bump and run. He got a hold of Dale Earnhardt coming to the white flag or checker flag that day right there, was able to get his first win here. So if he can get close enough to Jimmie Johnson, he knows how to put the pressure on here. He's been a winner here one time before, and he needs a win here today.
That was back in 1998, 130 races since Mayfield has won. What about restarts for Jimmie Johnson?
He needs to keep those tires clean. And in a place like this, what he's got to really worry about is guys getting a run on him and making and possibly drafting, passing, getting down into turn 1. So this restart is going to be real critical for him.
Yeah, so far he's kind of blown away from the competition.
So far he's been on top of these restarts, so he needs another good clean restart to get a little bit of distance between these guys so he can sit himself out there on the pace he's very comfortable with. He's been fast all day long. He just doesn't need to make any mistakes.
Right, Jimmy, who had problems in Dover, finishing 32nd last week, has led 117 laps today, and we're closing in on the record for most caution laps ever in Pocono. It was 53. We're within a couple laps of that. It slowed this race down tremendously.
It has been another one of those long days as far as the competitors are concerned, as well as everybody else. But sometimes, Chris, it just turns out to be one of those days.
And as Larry Mack mentioned, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett looking for their first wins of the year following Jimmie Johnson and Jeremy Mayfield. So as we get ready for these final 9 laps, let's go back upstairs.
The cautions have been shorter than what we saw last week at Dover, so some of the new rules are having an effect. That's good to see.
Yep, still got a little work to do, though. 50 laps, a lot of
Get
laps.
those seatbelts a tug, man. Get that thing cleaned out. It's all you, babe. All you.
But 10 cautions is a lot of cautions.
And, of course, those laps are magnified when you're at a 2.5-mile racetrack this big.
But all that's behind us. Going to be 8 laps to go.
We're going to have a shootout here before long, but it's getting it's going to be shorter and shorter the way it's going.
DW, you heard what Chad Canals told him, what I tell you at the beginning of every race. Reach up there and pull them belts tight one more time, buddy. Yeah. We got to go now.
Yeah, I don't think there's no reason to hold anything back.
I don't think for any of these cars.
Well, he didn't on the last restart. Nobody could stay with him. Let's see what happens here. Going to be 8 to go.
But I think this is where Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Kurt Busch, they unleash what they have, too, as well. Single file restart.
He does it again. He gets him about 6-7 car lengths. Here comes Jamie McMurray up alongside of Dale Jr. back there, and look at him fan out.
Harvick. That's Harvick way on the bottom.
He's back there in 14th position. Hadn't made a lot of noise today, trying to get to the front here, get to the top 10.
Matt Kenseth's trying to get around Terry Labonte to move up the spot.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8-car pressure, and Kurt Busch in that 97. Here comes Jeff Gordon in the 24 as well.
Oh, baby, you get to swinging around back there on that back straightaway, and you get down here to the tunnel turn, something's got to give.
We saw that a while ago.
Shootout or slugfest, take your pick. Mayfield is closed right up on Johnson.
I tell you one thing I like about Mayfield, Larry. If he now has the fuel to go all the way, we know he's shifting across that short chute, which gives him a tremendous amount of speed across there.
Mayfield's there.
Tell you who else is there, that green car, Bobby Labonte. He's right behind Jeremy Mayfield in the 18.
Steve?
Hey, Mike, I just talked to Sammy Johns, who does R&D for Evernham Motorsports, and I said, how close are you? He said, close enough that we all want to throw up, but we're cutting 48.
Steve, DW, Mike, I'm watching Jeremy Mayfield get everything he can get out of that car right now. The last time in turn 1, he drove it so deep, it smoked the left front fender where the tire traveled up into it.
Since his last win, June of 2000 here, Mayfield has finished second 7 times.
Been close. Had a great car last week at Dover after sitting on the buck pole.
Bobby Labonte third, and right there, Dale Jarrett fourth.
Hey, who's made a move? I was just going to say, under the top 5, Jeff Gordon at 24. He's passed 4 cars than anybody today, I think.
He's hustling, baby. Bobby Labonte had the fastest lap that time, only by a few hundredths, but he was the quickest.
Kenseth trying Casey Mears. Here comes Harvick, looking even lower.
He tried to make it 3 wide, getting into 1.
Larry,
wasn't enough racetrack.
Jimmie Johnson just ran 53.40.
Wow. And Jeremy Mayfield just ran 53.40. That's the fastest lap he has ran this entire race. So Bobby Labonte as well. That was his fastest lap.
They all are after it right now, and I'll tell you, I like the way Jeremy is hanging on.
Jeremy could reach out and touch Jimmie Johnson's car. He's that close.
Talking about close.
Oh.
Hello. That may not work.
Kenseth got in the back of Harvick.
Battle for 12.
Uh-oh. Dale Jarrett down on pit road, out but out of the race. 5 laps to go. Jarrett looking for his first top 5 in a year and a half. Not going to happen.
Here goes
for the lead.
Jimmie Johnson in the 48. He gets a good run on the high side, though. He's able to stay in front going down the Long Pond straight.
I like the way Jeremy gets through turn 1 down there. He can get down on the bottom. That's going to get him up beside of Johnson if he doesn't watch out. Hear him? He's shifted going into the tunnel. He's been shifted across his short chute. But I think he's letting it all hang out now.
I think he's reaching down, getting everything that car's got, and then some.
Caution's out, buddy. Back
Yellow.
it down. Stay up high. Caution is out. Stay up high.
5 to go. Caution is out.
Now, the red flag lap is 196. We will be completing 196 now, so I think we're past that window.
They're going to red flag it.
And we're here that Jeff Burton and the 99 car almost simultaneously as Dale Jarrett blew up. We know both those cars had the new engine package.
Looks like the new engine package is 5 miles short. He got in the oil. Guarantee you, he got in the oil. That or else, you don't reckon Harvick and he got together, do you?
At this stage, Darrell, I'm not going to reckon anything. 4 laps to go.
Matt Kenseth, he's going up the front stretch at a pretty high rate of speed right now.
He doesn't, you know, the car looks angry.
It has that look about it.
Yeah, the car looks really angry to me. Of course, maybe by the time he gets there, it'll be a little happier.
All right, let's see what happens as Kenseth comes around. We are under caution. We're waiting to hear if NASCAR intends to red flag this race or run it under yellow to conclusion. Now, Kenseth is going back into the spot he occupied at the time of the caution. And we'll see how NASCAR rules on this.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
He definitely got help.
You know, this started earlier when Kenseth was jacking. He got in behind Joe right there. Now, 29 came across the nose of the 17. Kenseth jacked him up going across his short chute.
All the way down the short chute.
Drives in there in front of him, but Kevin can't quite get back to him off of the corner, so he waits, and boy, they are not happy.
Well, Kenseth is just trying to get back into the position he occupied when the yellow came out. And that's going to be one for NASCAR to settle.
I'm getting that spot back, Dan.
Red flag will be issued. No, excuse me. The yellow flag is still being displayed at start-finish.
You know, they're doing Kenseth and Harvick are doing a good thing. They got 2 cars in between them. I think that's a good idea.
They had
held those 2 cars.
That's right.
They had held the field. The pace car stopped briefly between turns 2 and 3, and a lot of speedy dry going down in that area. So they're now coming around to the caution.
Well, I believe Kenseth should be able to go back in his position. Oh, is this real? Is this happening?
It is.
This is not a highlight film.
No, this is live.
Man. Guys, I told you that car was angry.
Because we have passed lap 196, and that is the lap they indicated in the driver's meeting was the last lap on which the race might be red flagged. They have decided this race will roll under caution, and it does not appear that within 3 laps they'll be able to clean things up, give one to go. Kenseth is going to stop and put on tires just in case.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that call. The only thing is, well, no, I'm not sure about that call at all. He's going to restart in 22nd place after coming in.
Being shown in 11th position right now, so I'm like you, DW. I don't know about this one because we're not sure if this race is going to get restarted or not.
Truck putting Speedy dry coming out of turn number 3. And I would think, Darrell, they'd have to run through that a time or two to clean it off. And
well,
get the
you got to get the blowers out there and blow it off. And, you know, we might get a green-white checkered here, but...
Well, let's show you this strange turn of events in the order in which it happened. This is under green.
That's just Harvick makes the pass, slides up in front of Kenseth, took the nose off of Kenseth's car. He jacks him up going across there, gets down into 3. He's able to get away from him here. Then the caution comes out.
Yeah, that was everything that transpired between the two of them under green.
And then Harvick was not happy with Kenseth because he pushed him across the short chute, so he turns him around.
Kenseth comes back around to pick up the position where he was running.
And he turns him around. So, what's the score, Larry?
Oh, I'm not sure on that one. We know it's at least 1-1.
It's going to be Oval Office to Oval Office. It's going to be a big
The line keeps getting longer there.
Yeah. Because in this, as in any other sport, there's no room for vigilante justice.
No, that just blows my mind, to tell you the truth. I can't believe it, Kenseth. You know, he's such a cool character that he would let something like that get to him.
Once again, these guys are taking 3,400-pound race cars that someone else is going to have to fix and beating on each other.
We've had 10 caution flags today. In the first 100 laps, we had only 3, and then it became yellow flag fever here at Pocono. We've had 16 different leaders, a record. They would have to give one to go this time by if we were going to race the final lap under green. Doesn't look like that will happen.
I think based on everything that's taken place here over the last 10 laps, maybe even before that, might be better to set this end under caution.
Jimmie Johnson, he still has to make 5 more miles on that tank of fuel.
Johnson had the dominant car, but a miscue in the timing of opening the pit road during one caution put him well back in the field, and then he worked his way back to the front. Hendrick Motorsports, which started its day with Brian Vickers on the front row, is going to end up with 3 cars in the top 10. And Johnson...
just said they're going to let y'all bring it around. They'll sort it out afterwards.
And Johnson at victory lane. Jeremy Mayfield got so close, and what a great run those last few laps under green, as he could just reach out and touch Jimmy.
He was putting the pressure on Johnson, and the car looked like it had maybe the speed to get around him.
These guys are doing what they need to do because they came in this race, 15th in points, but only 100 points out of 10.
So Jeremy will get his 8th second-place finish since his last victory.
Not a bad thing when you're trying to get in the top 10 in points. Come to a place where you know you got a good solid finish like that.
Like Harry Gant used to say, yeah, I'd rather win, but second place pretty good too.
Yes, sir. Bobby Labonte, good recovery for him.
Yeah, Labonte was right there. He was right on Mayfield's bumper in that last lap run under green. Who knows what might have been.
Well, you never know how good your car is until you get to the end of the race and you really start driving it as hard as it'll go. You always save a little bit.
And, you know, I think we need to document here the fact that it would have been very hard for NASCAR to get this racetrack cleaned up. We had 2 blown engines. We had the 99 and the 88. And then you add to all the debris that Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick throw up on the racetrack.
Yeah, I had 2 blown tempers, the 2 blown engines. It's hard to get cleaned up.
Very dirty racetrack.
What a last few weeks it's been for Jimmie Johnson.
The last few weeks has been some for all of us.
The big win at Charlotte, dominating performance, led 500 of 600 miles. The next week at Dover, in position to win, gets caught up in a huge wreck.
One more time, buddy, one more time.
And now at 65 miles an hour, the speed at which over 100,000 people will drive home today, Jimmie Johnson is going to complete the last lap, the one that will take him to victory lane.
I'm going to tell you who, though, is going to come out of here smelling like a rose again, a lot like Dover, Delaware. You see that big bud.
Way down low.
All right, what Chad Knaus is telling these guys, get way down low. Don't get up on the banking in the corners and let the fuel run away from the pickup. But Dale Earnhardt Jr., we talked about it earlier, almost going a lap down. He's sitting there now in 6th position. Jimmie Johnson's going to eat in that lead a little bit, but not a lot.
Larry, this speed, these things get as good gas mileage as your SUV, but it shouldn't be a problem.
You have to maintain pace car speed, and you cannot receive assistance on the white flag lap. No pushing. No shoving.
And this is where that rule came into being.
Actually,
right here.
Talladega, I think.
After the week after here.
No, I don't know. It's been a rule for a long time. I got pushed in here by Dave Marcus in 1982 on the last lap, trying to pass Bobby Allison, and they penalized me like 7 spots. So it's been around for a long time. That doesn't mean it, because it's been around a long time, doesn't mean they still use it. But
look at this. Can you assist the pace car on the last lap? Come on, I got to go. I got some people to thank. Give that Monte Carlo a push.
But I think you heard Matt Yoakum talking about it earlier. I think what this group has done a wonderful job at is putting Dover, Delaware behind them and working towards Pocono, Pennsylvania, the next race.
Oh, that's a cooler that has come out of the stand.
Did you see that? It just threw something down there and hit the flag.
And it hit the assistant flagman. And I hope somebody gets a squad car ride out of here for that one. Security right now is trying to identify the patron who caused that. However, as that happens, Jimmie Johnson, who's finished at the top 15.
Stay way down low, Jimmy. Stay way down low. They're throwing a bunch of stuff.
All 5 of his Pocono starts.
On the racetrack right here at the start-finish line on the inside. They just threw a bottle and hit stuff.
Jimmie Johnson is going to score his 9th career victory in his 89th start. All of them on super speedways. Jimmie Johnson wins the Pocono 500. He ties Dale Jr. for the most wins this season with 3.
What another good run for his teammate Terry Labonte. Finishes 7th. Had a great run all day long.
We'll go to victory lane with Jimmie Johnson, who wins the slowest Pocono Cup race ever.
Place finishes. Steve?
Thanks, Matt. With Jeremy Mayfield. Now, we know you were nursing that thing. You guys were low on fuel, but Jeremy, we all want to know if that had ended under green, would you have been able to get by Jimmie Johnson?
I don't know. You know, he was strong all day, but we had a great car. Our Dodge really come on strong towards the end of the race, and just awesome. You know, I mean, I'll say hey to all the Dodge dealers out there too to help us, because they had a good Dodge today and just come up a little bit short. But you know, the brakes kind of went our way today, and we'll take that and go on to Michigan and go from there. But great day, Pocono for us.
Thanks, Jeremy. Back upstairs.
Both Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick went to the Oval Office. They both declined to comment. Harvick ends up the tail end of the lead lap, and he is 21st today. And there will be quite a line at the Oval Office. Robbie Gordon was called there for continuing to run through a caution when a caution came out, not slowing down to pace car speed. And there was so much that happened today. But, Darrell, the thing that impressed me most, we heard comments from Jimmie Johnson during the dust-up about pit road opening. We didn't replay him for you, but his tone of voice then and how Chad got him calmed down and back to business, to me, that was the key, his key to victory.
Well, of course, you know, everything worked out the way it was supposed to. And how that happened, well, you know, lucky or good, I'm not sure, but at least it all worked out like it's supposed to. And the car that was the dominant car all day won the race.
Larry, 2 things we can't tolerate: drivers dumping each other under caution, losing their temper, and fans losing their temper. If NASCAR could have restarted the race, they would have. That kind of action, and by the way, that spectator was removed That just can't be tolerated.
No, I mean, I've always been against, even with the drivers I worked with. Look, if you've got a beef with a guy, you park the car in the garage, you leave the race car out of it, then you go address it. But absolutely, we just cannot tolerate fans. And, you know, they're not NASCAR fans. I don't know what they are, but they're not NASCAR fans.
The good guys, the good fans down here have got to help get the bad guys under control. I mean, that's what we need.
And today they did. They alerted security as to who the offender was, and he was removed. Well, congratulations to Jimmie Johnson. I think the best thing we can say about this day is we're off to Michigan.
Ooh, wonder what that'll hold.
He did set a record, 57 laps under caution. The points, Jimmie Johnson within now 58. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with another top 10 finish today. Kevin Harvick ended up with a top 10 finish out of all that. You see just 9 drivers are within 400, Jeff Hammond, and I think we have not seen the end of Kenseth and Harvick. We'll keep an eye on that as we head toward Michigan, whether they're talking or not.
Whether they're talking or not. I think the other thing we got to think about when we talk about Kevin Harvick in this situation is just how much money is it going to cost them by the time NASCAR gets a hold of these guys, because they're not going to tolerate 2 drivers beating and banging on each other, especially under caution. Guys, let NASCAR sort it out. Otherwise, do like Larry says, go out behind the trailers and settle it like men. All
right, so the race for the points championship between Jimmie Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., and then the battle for those to get to within 400. As we said, 16 different leaders. That ties the Pocono record. We did have 11 cautions. This was the slowest Pocono race ever, speed-wise, averaging 112 miles per hour, but not too slow for Jimmie Johnson, who cashed in. The Pocono is supposed to be a vacation getaway, a holiday resort, a honeymoon hangout. Instead, 500 miles of cautions, crashes, and the collection of the tempers. And in the end, Jimmie Johnson wins out. Thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox.